The book of Psalms 144. Blessed is Yahuah, my strength, which teaches my hands to war and my fingers to fight. Shalom, Yashar'el, Elder DFG. Hey, my brothers and sisters, I hope you're well. I hope you're focused. I hope you're studying your precepts. I hope you're listening to these videos. I hope you're sharing these videos. And most importantly, I hope that you are applying this knowledge so that you can be strong, so that Yahuah can keep you on your, keep you on edge, so that as this war, this fight that is already happening all over this flat earth, and many of you are fighting these fights, because I know I'm fighting these fights, so that you prepare yourself to win. You know, before we crossed over to the Jordan, you can read it over in the book of Deuteronomy, over in Joshua as well, book of Joshua chapter 1. You know, Yahuah was telling us a couple of things. First, he said, be of good courage. What he meant by that is to be strong, be of good courage. Well, he said to be strong and of good courage. What he meant by the good courage part was to be confident. Because see, these battles that are being fought out here, they are going to get a lot more hostile, and these battles are going to become a whole lot more aggressive. You know, those of you who follow this teaching, you know that we are constantly looking at Isaiah for a very good example. Isaiah, the book of Isaiah. And Isaiah constantly reminds us of, you know, the challenge, the desolation, the vineyard, the empty vineyard, the wild vineyard. How Yahuah wanted to put his hedge around us, but because of the rebellion of our people. Ass knows his owner, ox his master's crib. My people don't know who they are, and they won't consider. My people are in such a bad state of mind, they will let heathens, Israelite heathens included, tell them who they are. Tell them who they aren't, even worse. You're taking a position, many of us, that I am Israel. I know I am Israel. I don't have to validate it to no two-legged heathen, or four-legged heathen as well, or three-legged heathen, whatever kind of damn demon entities they are. Challenging one's authority or your prophet. I would tell you, go ask your stinking mammy, is she your mammy? Go ask your mammy, is your daddy your daddy? Because you're probably a bastard and don't even know it. Your mother probably is a whore. So how about focusing on that instead of questioning who is who in regards to what you don't know? Because you or them, I'm saying, my brothers and sisters, are so pompous that they really think that they have somehow or another in their little weak brains the permission, for lack of a better word, to undress us in regards to who we are. And because of the fear that many of our people are walking in, unadmitted fear, unidentified fear, I'm going to talk about some of that. You know, we're all scared of the muddy waters. Or many, not all, but many of us are afraid of the muddy water. What's in the water? I'm afraid of the muddy water. Maybe there's parasites. Maybe there, tadpoles. Maybe there's, whatever. And because of that fear of what we're not comfortable with, we're now finding ourselves being limited in terms of what Yahuah can show us, and not only what he can show us, how he can strengthen our hands to war, how he can strengthen our fingers to fight. That is a metaphor for a practical way of living as Israel. That's exactly why King David said it, brothers and sisters. He wasn't only talking about the physicality of fighting, he was talking about the mentality of perseverance, resiliency, being able to look your enemy in the eye and challenge them if they're challenging you. Don't bother them if they don't bother you. But if they do, you should have the mindset, sisters, same thing with you brothers, that's the last person they are so, they have the audacity to come up on. It needs to get hostile sometimes with them. I'm talking about those who intentionally disrespect us because of the stand that we take. And because there's a spirit of fear within our hearts, there's a spirit of uncertainty We are afraid of things that we can't see. And that fear causes us to be limited of the things that Yahuah can bless us with. And this is what I'm saying today, in this particular lesson. It's time now to block out all of the mockers, block out all the naysayers. Even if that naysayer lives in your own soul. As I've taught before, the enemy that most of Israel is facing is the enemy that they see when they look in the mirror. And because they refuse to deal with the enemy that's in the mirror, they can't deal with the enemies around them. And therefore, as David said in Psalms 83, our enemies are confederate. They're working in hand. They're working as a cabal. They're working, in some type of almost relay. Just passing the baton, one to another, like a relay. And they're running clean over us because, again, we refuse to take and ask ourselves a basic question. Why am I saying I trust Yahuah with all my heart? That's the question that we're not dealing with. Why am I professing to trust him with all my heart, all my mind, and all my strength, and at the same time allowing outside interference to come in and cause us to be inhibited or limited because we're in contradiction? We're saying on the one side, I trust Yahuah. But then as soon as someone comes up on us and confronts us about what we believe, what we trust, and then, all of a sudden, we become confused, many of us. We become rattled, far too many of us. And you're going to lose the fight every single time if you're not confident in the fight for which you stand, for which you say you believe. And as I said before, it doesn't matter who's coming. I wake up every day, brothers and sisters, prepared to fight. Every single day, including Shabbat. Those of you who know how difficult it can be from time to time for me to get the Shabbat message, downloaded and posted, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every entity known to mankind tries to interfere with me posting the message. Not doing the messages, but posting the messages. If you had any idea what I fight, you would definitely stand back and say, you know what? Hallelujah, praise Yahuah for the effort that elder, this prophet, puts into making sure that we do have, the word manna. Word manna. Word food, angels food. Amos reminded us, brothers and sisters, and let me remind you too. He said a time is going to come where all of those who take for granted this word, these teachings, are going to live to regret it. That take for granted that this is not important, or it only has a certain amount of relevance, depending on what they believe versus what they don't believe. Who they believe can say it, or who they believe can teach it versus who is not called to say it or teach it. Again, as though they're the expert in anything. They're not even an expert in their own lives, but they're trying to project on us how to better or who or what we can do in terms of, limiting us in our lives. And this is why I say to my brothers and sisters, there comes a point in time you have to mean what you say and say what you mean. There comes a time that you can no longer, sit there and be fearful of what your family may think or your friends may think. Your enemies sometimes. Some of our people even worry about what their enemies' opinion of them are, which is sheer foolishness. It's a waste of absolute time. Why don't you care about what somebody thinks that does not matter to you? So this fight is a real fight. This fight happens every single day for me. And if you're not fighting, then my question would begin to tell you, my question for you would be, then maybe, you need to see whose side you on. Because there's no way you're standing for this truth and you're not fighting. As I said before, there's not a morning I get up And I don't think a fight. I'm not fighting every morning, God. Don't get me wrong, but I'm prepared to fight. In many a morning, I am fighting. Every morning, some of you guys, again, I don't want to get into the depths of me because this is not about me. This teaching is about us. All of these teachings are about us. A people, Israel, a collective. It's one of the reasons why I can't stand selfish people. If there was ever something that I despise, I despise selfish men and selfish women who don't give a damn about nobody else but themselves. I can't stand them. And I'll say this to any of you. If you're walking in that spirit, you better repent because you're going to hell with that. No way you're getting into the kingdom. Yahuah is a collective Elohim. And there's so many of our brothers and sisters who profess to love the Most High, but are selfish as shit. They're selfish. And the only reason I use S-H-I-T because it comes out of you or whoever you are. Nobody else poops for you. You poop for yourself. That's why I use that, unfortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, metaphor. I can't stand them, and neither should you. Because here's something about a selfish person, brothers and sisters. See, a selfish person will embrace certain people, but they exclude others. And so that's the indicator to you right there, that if they're walking in that spirit of selfishness, at some point, as they do the others, you better believe they will do it to you. And that's why I don't trust them, and that's why I don't like them. I despise them. Although many embrace the elder. Oh, elder this and oh, elder that. Oh, elder, you the best. Oh, elder, I love you. Oh, and then all of a sudden, somewhere down the road, they treat me just like they treat the other, throwaways. They're expert in throwing people away. Now, I'm not talking about separating ourselves, brother, separating yourself from the wicked. The book tells us how can two walk together except they agree. I'm not talking about that. The book tells us don't give unto the wicked. I'm not talking about that type of stuff. I am talking about individuals who are solely consumed in themselves and only what matters to them. So they're untrustworthy. They will not fight for anybody. They won't fight for you. And truth be told, again, they work for the other side. All hell is about to be let loose upon this earth. It's already going on. It's going hardcore. We talked about it. You're following this teaching. You know about the hundreds of thousands of people who are dying, from drug overdoses, the millions who are dying from diseases, the additional millions who are dying from war. Just because war is not knocking on your door does not mean war won't soon be knocking on your door. You go to places like Sudan. You go to places like Palestine, Ukraine, other parts throughout this whole earth, probably soon Venezuela, the certain areas in Mexico, all over this earth, Colombia. People are getting slaughtered, heads getting chopped off, children getting snatched up and put into human trafficking, sex trafficking. The number one industry, let me say this to you again, my brothers, especially you who are parents of little children. People talk about the drug trade all over this earth and all, the other things that are going on in the black market. The number one illegal market on this earth is child sex trafficking. Means little children, not your teenage daughter or your teenage son. I'm talking about the 6-year-old, the 7-year-old, the 8-year-old, the 9-year-old. Possibly the 10-year-old. Grooming them to be sex slaves for the rest of their lives until they're no longer useful, and then they destroy them. Unalivable. And our people don't know these things because our people are so caught up in, tell me something good. Tell me something sweet. Oh, you got a bad mouth. Oh, you too aggressive. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. Yeah, all these things that I am doing is because Yahuah said, cry aloud, spare not, warn the people. And they hate it. The non-fighters, the cowards among us, they hate the truth, brothers and sisters. See, they want you to just believe everything is fine and everything's going to work itself out. Family matters. When we know we got nothing but a bunch of treacherous vultures, buzzers in our families. Wicked, 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 wicked. Every wicked person on this earth, think about it like this. Let me see if I can give you something to bring it down and simplify. There's probably not one diabolical wicked man or wicked woman that's not a part of somebody's family. Truth is, I think I just answered the question in the statement. So all this, family matters and I trust my family. Well, every demon, two-legged demon, physical flesh demon, no soul demon, are part of somebody's family. So when you allow yourself to get looped into that kind of idiotic thinking that somehow or another I'm supposed to be loyal to my family because it's my family, then I'm telling you, you're soon to be extremely disappointed by them. That's if you're going to stand up for this truth. And if you don't stand up for this truth, if you're so weak you got to compromise yourself because you just got to be accepted by your family, then understand this. They're going to lead you right to hell exactly where they're going. And Yahuah is not going to give you mercy. He's not going to turn the other head because you think so. What did Ezekiel tell us, brothers and sisters? He said clearly, he said, Job, Daniel, Noah. He said, if they're righteous, but if their children are wicked, Yahuah what? He's going to destroy their children. Not because they're children, it's because they're wicked. Because they don't love Yahuah, or they're pagans. They love Jesus, Yahuah. They love alcohol. They love drugs. They like whores and whoremongers. That's what they love. They like liars and thieves. They love to create confusion. They love an argument. They love pitting people against each other. You can't say you're fighting for Yahuah, brothers and sisters, and you compromise every single time something comes up that you want to do. You get compromised. Then you don't love Yahuah. And guess what? He does not love you. You're failing all the tests, but cheating on the side, giving yourself a passing grade. And how do you do that? By ignoring what Yahuah says and embracing what you want to believe. Again, this is the very reason why I want you to remember this, brothers and sisters. Who cares what somebody thinks at the end of the day if they don't respect Yahuah, which means they can never respect and love you. One thing this book tells us about loving our neighbor, we know that means Israel, our brother and our sister who are keeping the Torah. He said, what was the first commandment? Thou shalt love your Elohim Yahuah with all your heart, all your mind, and all your strength. Yet they loving Jesus or Yahuah or whoever it is. And you know it, some of you know that's what they do, and yet you refuse to come out from among them because you are acting like exactly what you are. And I'll let you fill that part in. I'm not going to keep telling you over and over. Again, my job is just to warn you. And you don't have to listen to me. That's what I say for all the little scopers, all the little girly boys who just can't help but come in the comments and have something to say. Po thing you. How sad, how pitiful, how small you are. I would feel sorry for you, but you're not worth any pity. You're a fool. You're a damn fool. So what can I say? I'm just going to keep on, muting your ass. I'm going to take and, block you. And now you're going to have to go find somebody else to mock. But I'll tell the rest of them about the righteous remnant of you. Think about it. Why would they even show up if we weren't doing something important? Why do you think, people pulling on you in the workplace, pulling on you again in your family, pulling on you in many, many ways that people will pull on you to take advantage of you? one of our dear Sister A.O. say, stop letting people waste your time. And she's right with that. She said that to me. She said, Elder, stop letting people waste your time. And I'll say the same thing to you, my brothers and sisters. Stop letting people waste your time. The book tells us that all the time. Don't give to the wicked. It's not just talking about, resources. It means don't give your time. Don't give your attention to them. You don't have to respond to an email if you don't want to. You don't have to answer your phone if you don't want to. You don't have to respond to a text message if you don't want to. Adults already understand that. Be an adult. Solomon in Ecclesiastes, and I want to go there real quick, tried to remind us of this. Let's take a stroll over there. But as we go over there to the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, as we go over there, I want you again to just take a couple of minutes and reflect upon what, this messenger, this teacher, this prophet, whether you like it or not, is saying. And these messages are for Israel. If you happen to be a righteous stranger and you happen to have your stuff together, you got your mind together, you're cleaving to this word, you're supporting this work, you're standing up for the truth, you stand against your own kind, calling them out for their wickedness, for their prejudice, their racism, their greed, their lust, their whoredom, their thievery, their abomination, their homosexuality, their paganism, their idolatry. If you're doing that against your own kind, then I guess you are a part of this work. I guess you are a part of the righteous. You know what I'm saying? That Yahuah identifies as those he will not destroy with the wicked. But you better believe you're not a righteous stranger just because you say so. Where's your fruit? Where's your work? But primarily, this teaching is for righteous Yashar'el. This teaching is only to warn the wicked. I don't really have a horse in the race whether or not you, Mr. or Mrs. Wicked, agree with what I'm teaching. I don't have a horse in that race. What that means, I don't care what you think. I'm not even here for you. I'm here to warn you, and you're warned. And I know you're not going to take the warning because you never take good advice. You're a fool. Book says a fool hates knowledge. A fool loves to mock. You're a scoffer. So the mocker loves to mock. So you're a simple mind. That's what I said earlier. You're just small, teeny bitty minded. All this wickedness going on in this whole earth. And I'm talking about pure, clean wickedness going on. And you don't have nothing to say to them, but you're over here talking to the righteous of us who are doing our best to peel back and swim our way out of this muddy water, out of this damn filth. And you trying to pull us back in the filth because that's where your rotten ass is, because you're a pagan, you're an idolater, you're a perversion, you're profane and miserable. And so misery loves company, and that's why you keep coming over here. You can't help yourself. It's like Satan, when the sons of Elohim went before him, Yahuah Almighty. Where did Satan come, brothers and sisters? Always remember that. They are going to show up. And they're going to come whispering. And Yahuah, like he told them, what do you want? What are you looking for? And what did they say? To and fro in the earth. He didn't say, I'm sitting my throne next to your throne. I want to overthrow your throne like these lying Christians say Lucifer said. That's not what Lucifer said. Well, that's what Lucifer said. But Lucifer and Jesus, that's what Jesus said. That's not what Satan said. When Yahuah confronted Satan in the book of Job, in chapter 1 and 2, and also in the book of Joshua, in relationship to Abraham, chapter 22, he asked Satan, say, Satan, what you doing? Satan didn't say, I'm trying to sit next to you. I'm trying to raise my throne above your throne. I'm not trying. He said, I'm going to and fro in this earth. And this is why the Creator said, have you considered this one? Have you considered that one? Have you considered Brother Keith? Have you considered Brother Tony? Have you considered Sister Amara? Have you considered Sister Maria? Have you considered Elder DFG? Have you considered whoever that is righteous, loving Yahuah? But see, he would never have to ask him about many of your family members, mine included. He would never have to ask Satan about, have you considered them? Because they are working on the other side. And because many of our people, are afraid of the muddy water, you can't even see the deception. I don't say you can't see the forest for the trees. Because, I'll tell you, some of you have an issue with your family members is you got a superhero demon on you. Come to the rescue demon. Many of you, you're dealing with a come to the rescue demon. That's what you are. You the come to the rescue guy. You the come to the rescue woman. They call you whenever they need you to make usage of you. And whenever you tell them no, you never notice that they get somewhat little agitated with you. Like you don't have the right to say no to them. But then when you do say no, some of you, the very next time they call on you, because you felt so weak, because you're so pathetic, tender, and delicate, that the next time they call on you, you are like a little, what they call that? Like a damn bobblehead dog. Okay, I'll be there. You can't be trusted. You're double-minded when you behave that way. See, the thing about this walk, brothers and sisters, about this truth, about this Torah, you either all the way in or you're not in at all. This is why Yahuah say, warn them, tell them, Elder DFG, bring it out. Expose them for who they are, so that the righteous remnant do not get entrapped in thinking that, he's a good guy because, she's a good woman because. And people that because means they did something nice for the predator, the bloodsucker, vampirism. New word I learned. You're a useful idiot to your family, many of you, and you better come to grips with that. Otherwise, your ass is going to go to hell, right along with them. This book is crystal clear. If you walking with them, you are with them. Whenever Yahuah was ready to judge the people, he told Noah, get in the ark. He said, Lot, get out of the city. He said, Moses, separate from them. Talking about Nate, Quorum, and Abiram in Numbers chapter 16. He says, separate yourselves from these people. I'm going to destroy them. And the reason he says separate yourself from them, brothers and sisters, because if you stay with them, you're going to go down with them. You're caring about the careless. Again, you're a means to an end. If your heart is a pure heart, you need to be focused on like-minded brothers and sisters who walk before Yahuah. Again, how can two walk together except there be an agreement? But see, there's enough of this little nonsense about, well, don't say nothing because you don't want to offend nobody. Don't say nothing because everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Don't say nothing because you can't judge anybody. Don't say nothing because how you know my heart. Oh, that sounds logical, but the book speaks against it. So you better say something. You open up your mouth. You warn the people. You tell them. And the one thing that's consistent in that warning is you are supposed to be separate from them. You know what's really sad about it, brothers and sisters? Some of our brothers and sisters, people that we consider brothers and sisters, you are going to end up, something is going to happen. This is a prophet. I'm prophesying to you. Something is going to happen to you, or something that you love. Because Yahuah is going to break, the strength of your pride. The book says pride comes before destruction. Your stubbornness, your lack of willing to be obedient is going to be the cause of your fall. I've seen this happen before. Brother Men that's been with me for over a decade, I know he knows more than anyone else that there have been many things that Yahuah has revealed to this prophet, and it has come to pass. And as those things come to pass, have come to pass, what I'm saying right now, it's going to come to pass. It doesn't matter who you are. He is no respecter of a person. If I go, if I go off the rail, go off the track, if I become a backsliding, which is definitely not going to happen, but if I chose to, guess what? It applies to me as well. This book makes it perfectly clear. Yahuah says, I'm not a man that I should lie. If I said, I'm going to do it. He said that we should not partake in the wickedness. He said we should not partake in their celebrations. And that includes family reunions and weddings and funerals, birthday parties. But Israel is a stubborn, rebellious people. They don't care. Many of you are going to do what you want to do anyway. And you're going to point the finger at Yahuah when he strikes that fire and he destroys you. He places some type of disease or plague on you. Don't forget about Asa. Because just like he told Satan, what you doing? Satan said, I'm going to and fro on the earth. Again, Joshua chapter 22, Job chapter 1, and Job chapter 2. Remember Asa, 2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 9. Same thing, Asa. What do Yahuah tell Asa? Asa, I go throughout this whole earth. I told you Satan did it. He said, I go throughout this whole earth. Satan is not greater than the creator. He said, I go throughout this whole earth, and I'm looking too. That's what the prophet told him. The prophet said, don't you know that Yahuah sees everything? You're not getting away with anything. And no, he's not giving you grace for the 3 good things you did. A lot of our brothers and sisters want to conflate Yahuah, conflate themselves with Jehoshaphat. You can read about King Jehoshaphat in this particular instance in 2 Chronicles chapter 19. A lot of the daughters of Zion, professing to be, want to conflate yourself with Jehoshaphat. A lot of the men of Zion, supposed to be, want to compare yourself to Jehoshaphat. When Yahuah told Jehoshaphat, when are you going to stop loving those who hate me, who do evil? And you're sitting there saying, well, that's the same way I am. No, it's not. Because he got rid of all of the paganism. He got rid of all the idolatry in the land. And the only reason that he was walking with Ahab, because he didn't realize that Ahab, being a fellow Israelite, was walking in rebellion towards Yahuah, had been doing it. And of course, Ahab always come to him with gifts in hand. Ahab come to him, what do you need? You're my brother. That's how they're going to come every single time, brothers and sisters. That's how they lure you in. That's the hook, the bait. But you best believe, Jehoshaphat. Y'all going to give me mercy? No, he's not. Are you still walking contrary to Yahuah's Torah? Do you live a life of contradiction? Many of you are failing to see Yah's strength in your life because of you. But you want to put it on Yahuah, or you want to put it on circumstance. Oh, I can't get a job. Oh, I can't get this. That's because your ass is still in rebellion and you know it. I bet if somebody would put a camera, if just like these cameras see everything going on, Yahuah sees everything. That's what he was saying to Asa. Let me not get ahead of myself. He said the eyes of Yahuah goes throughout the whole earth, looking to show itself strong on behalf of those who love him, right? But then he came back and said this. Look at this, brothers and sisters. Check this out. As I said before, we're going to stop halfway talking. We're going all the way in. You either going to love Yahuah with all your heart or all your strength, or he's going to destroy you. It's easy. It's not complicated. It's real simple. And you're going to find out. When you least expect it, when you think everything is good, your car going to run off the road. Okay, I'm just telling you, it's going to be bad. You don't need me to say the rest of it. When it happens to you, you'll remember this conversation. Well, I'm going to just turn this off. Too bad, too late. You already heard it. And it doesn't matter if you turn it off. Anyway, it's still going to happen. You'd be wise to let it stay on. You'd be wise to listen attentively and apply it, but you won't. But look what it says, 2 Chronicles 16:9. He says, for the eyes of Yahuah, this is the prophet telling the king, for the eyes of Yahuah run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose hearts are perfect towards him. So all these devils talking about nobody perfect, you're a liar. You take that New Testament folly and get on out of here with that. And don't try to show us something in Psalm that David was talking about. First of all, David is not Yahuah. And David was a righteous man. So that throws you out the, that disqualifies you trying to use Psalms to question Yah's truth. He says, look at this part here. He says, same verse. Herein you have done foolishly. Therefore, from henceforth you shall have war. What was the foolishness that he did? What was the foolishness that Asa did? For this prophet to tell him that he's going to have wars. You know what it was? Compromising with the non-believer. Compromising with the enemy of Yahuah. Making alliances, again, with family members who don't love Yahuah, friends who don't love Yahuah, co-workers who don't love Yahuah. That was his sin. The same sin many of you are in when you decide to ignore Yahuah's truth and walk the way you want to walk. Because that's exactly what Asa did. And Asa thought because, he had some authority, I'm Israel, I could do it somehow because I'm Israel and Yah loves Israel. Not to the point where he won't destroy you. As I said it before, most of you are Lucifer, you're Luciferians, professing to obey and love Yahuah. You're Luciferians. All you Jesus lovers, Yahuah, you're Luciferians. Again, only your so-called Jesus said his throne sits next to the Father. And some of you say his throne is above the Father because you say he is the Father. Yeah, you read the book of Isaiah again, a great book of warning. What did he say? When you're down in hell, you're going to look over at, this man and you're going to be shocked. Because this man, the morning star, said he's going to put his throne next to the Most High or above it. But you'll never see it because Yahuah said because your heart is hard towards him because you want to be compromised. You are compromised. You don't want to be. You are compromised. You're talking about those who can't see this truth. They're running all over the place looking for happiness because of their fear. I say it again. You're looking for happiness because you are afraid. It's a spirit of a coward. The righteous are as bold as lions. That's Proverbs 28:1. So when you got to go get the attention of other people or you got to listen to other people's opinion about you to feel validated or let other people discourage you and make you feel marginalized, you are walking in the spirit. There's a demon. Just like that demon was with Sarah, that demon is with you. That demon has influence over you. That's why you behave in such a way. And that's why you walk in the fear of the muddy water. I'm afraid, because. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment too, by the way, brothers and sisters. What do you tell the people who are being destroyed for a lack of knowledge? That's the question I would present to any of you all. Sister Jackson, again, Sister Maria, Sister Amara, Sister Ao. What do you tell the people who are afraid of knowledge? Do you keep on telling them? Do you keep on putting, money in bags with holes in it? No, you let them go, but you don't go with them. It takes, loving Yahuah to be able to tell somebody no when they're going against this Torah. I don't care if it is your family. I don't care if it is your coworkers, your friends. I don't care what time of year it is. Doesn't matter. Well, it can't hurt nothing me eating no Christmas cookie. Oh, yes, it will. That's called food sacrifice to the gods. So how do you help someone who don't want help? How do you save a daughter of Zion who doesn't want to be saved? You can't. So they walk in their fear, and what they do, brothers and sisters, because they're not being obedient, they try to project that on you. This is why, again, the sister said, why do you care about those people who don't care? Why you worry about the people that's not worthy of you worrying about them? They're not dealing with the issue. Some of these people who are struggling for their own behavior, they created the struggle because they were listening to this word, but they did not do this word, or they did this word in a very perverted way. Perversion is halfway in, double-minded, between two opinions. The very man or woman Yahuah said, do not trust. That's Joshua, what is that, 91 and 4, 91 and 5. So you don't trust no double-minded man or woman. That means those who are inconsistent. Again, warning our people, as Yahuah has told me to do. He said, we are coming upon the worst of times, Sister Coke. We're coming on the worst of time, Brother Goings. We're coming on the worst of times, Brother Lance. And our people are sitting over there, just aloof. They can't even see the danger that they have placed themselves in when they walk away from these teachings, this truth. They're so busy just wanting, this carefree life, this life that somehow is going to work itself out because y'all trying to make me afraid. Nobody has to make a coward afraid. It's in a coward's DNA to be afraid. Don't you know that those who kill people unjustly are cowards? Those who hate the righteous, they're cowards. The mockers, the scoffers who come here, they're cowards. The mockers and scoffers in your own house are cowards. Those who are hating on you because you came out and they won't come out, they're cowards. They won't admit it. They're afraid of what they don't know. That's what a coward is. And unlike them, we sought Yahuah. We searched for him with all our heart. Just like the book says, where the prophet says, trust in Yahuah with all your heart. That means that's supposed to be a drive inside of you to go get this truth. That's what it means. Trust. It means you strive for it. You grind it out, Brother Sharif Green. You don't give up. You don't quit. You're not half in, half out. You don't which I know you, my dear brother, don't play them games anyway. You got the same spirit the elder has. You gotta let them fools come over here with that father. They're gonna find out the hard way. So I know you, my brother, but I'm just saying you as an affirmation or confirmation. Again, we don't compromise. What does the book say? That's what we're doing. And we don't care if it's mama, cousin, uncle, auntie, daughter, son, grandma, grandpa. We don't care. Best friend, used to be best friend. Wife, husband, doctor, lawyer. We don't give a shit about it. None of that. When it comes down to this word is run supreme. That's what trusting in Yahuah with all your heart means. Don't mean that you just, you hold out for this. You know what I'm saying? Or you hold out until a certain thing happens. Something that you want to do, then you submit to. Then you run to it. You're strong for the things you don't want to do. But when soon as the things come that you enjoy doing, all of a sudden, all of your conviction flies out of the door. And you think that somehow Yahuah doesn't see you as a double-minded, man or woman that hates him. And again, I know, brothers and sisters, that most of the people who are listening to me don't care. I get it. I'm not naive. Many of you know they don't care. If you think about it, there's no one in their right state of mind. I'm talking about that's not in a state of madness. Deuteronomy 28:28 said that Israel will be in a state of madness. I mean mental illness. And a mental ill person don't always know they're mentally ill. They don't know there's something wrong with their mind. They just think there's something wrong with everybody else. But these very people hate the book. And they say they don't. Wait a minute, time out then. Where are you teaching from then? Unless you got some Book of the Dead or some Adam and Eve or Adam and Steve or Queen James Version or whatever. What are you talking about? How can you say you love Yahuah and then despise us who are in this book and showing you that you're in error because you're allowing the heathens, sorcery, to continue to have a hold on you just like your parents and your parents' parents did? But you tell your children, when you grow up, I want you to be better than me. Well, how can they be better than you when you are sorcering? Are you placing sorcery on them because you know better than your parents? Your parents believed in idolatry and paganism, these holidays, etc. You're doing the same thing. You don't think your parents wanted you to be better than them? Well, you're not. You're just like them. You might have more toys to play with. But I mean, you may have more things to compromise yourself with than they did. They had limited access to things. A lot of them didn't have social media, internet, cell phones, iPads, tablets, PlayStation, Xbox, TikTok, OnlyFans. They didn't have those things, so they had limitations. So you might have more access. But you're just as much of a pagan as they are. And your child will be just like you are. And that works for the good just like it works for the bad. So if you like Sister, Deborah or Sister Amara, who are raising their son and their daughter by the laws and the statutes of Yahuah, then guess what? They do have the opportunity to surpass their grandparents. They will be better than their grandparents. Hell, they're already better than their grandparents. Probably know more about this book than their grandparents know. Because they have a loving mother who cares enough about them. One of our dear sisters, Sister Nelson, was saying how she and her husband, Brother Nelson, fight for their family. But she didn't say they fight for their family in wickedness. She said, no, they fight for their family in righteousness. They both said the same thing. It's beautiful to hear. Walking in agreement. They're not sitting there hiding and pretending that somehow or another this perversion is accepted by Yahuah because it's family. They understood you can't be between two opinions. Deuteronomy 20:18 said that to us. In other words, Deuteronomy 20:30 and 19. I'm sorry. He said, how long, will you be? He said, in other words, what he said is, I put before you life and death. In other words, make a decision. You can't be between two opinions. Isaiah told the people Elijah told the people in Israel when he was confronting, Jezebel's, preachers and pastors and bishops, Baal worshipers. He told the people, how long will y'all be between two opinions? You can't serve Yahuah and then serve the church, your pastors, your imams, your rabbis, your clergymen, clergywomen. He said you can't do it. You might think you can, but you can't. And the people you would have thought, brothers and sisters, if you studied out what was going on at the time. There was a famine in the land for 3+ years, and it was getting so bad people were eating their own babies. Eating dead animals, carcasses of dead animals, etc. It was that bad. And the only one that was striving was those who were in obedience, the widow, her son, Elijah. And of course the super wealthy, because, they always going to steal from the poor. They don't care nothing about you. Trump don't care nothing about you. Obama don't care anything about you. Jay-Z don't care nothing about you. Are you serious? LeBron don't care nothing about you. But our people sure love them, some of them. Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Patriots. Man, I'm a Celtics fan. Celtics don't care nothing about you, except for how to get you to give your resources, put it into the wicked so that they can enrich themselves using these, quote unquote, slaves to make money for themselves. They give the slaves some. If you go back and look at the history, the slaves who did special favors, go look at the movie The Birth of a Nation. You'll see that, those who were doing special things got a little something extra. They still were a slave, but they were able to eat the crumbs from the master's table. So when you look at all of your professional athletes, female, all they are is just slaves. But they got a little bit more crumbs than you got, because you rather serve that. You rather pour into that than to take and hold on to the things that Yahuah told you to hold on and use for the building of his kingdom. That's an offense to you. But it's not an offense to you, to go, and waste resources on Christmas presents. Junk. Where's last year's Christmas presents? Where are the Christmas presents 2 years ago that these people bought for these children? Many of these people went in serious debt. And we talked about it the other day. America South, what was the number, brothers? $1.5 trillion, I think the number was, in debt. Credit card debt, $1.5 trillion. They'll never pay that stuff off. They're going to crash this system, crash this economy, do a reset. At least that's what they hope to do. Not going to work. But that's their intent. But where are those Christmas presents? Where are those birthday presents? Did you check the garbage cans at the end of the feast that y'all were a part of? See how much food got thrown in the trash can? All the money you spent on gift wraps and gift bags, only to be torn apart and thrown in the trash. Scotch tape. But when it comes down to doing the work for Yahuah, you got something to say. Talking about, and then you questioning why your situation doesn't get any better. It's not going to get any better. And as they continue to eliminate these jobs, it's going to get a whole lot worse for most of the people that we know. But by the grace of Yahuah, he said, no, not my righteous remnant. He said, not y'all. He said, no, I'm going to make a way for you. So I'm going to put that shield of protection around us, Sister Melanie. Say that's what he's going to do for us, Sister Marissa. He said, we're going to be protected. He said, but the one thing, you better do, you better be committed. You better be 100% invested in this thing, and you had better be willing to do what it is he says to you to do. And he's going to speak to you through his prophet. So you don't have to be confused. I don't understand. I don't know. No, you will understand. You will know if your heart is right. Because he will make sure what you need to know will be spoken to you through the one he chose to speak to us. And he's not asking the opinion of the wicked among us, who is qualified to teach or not, who's called to teach or not. Who don't give a damn about nobody's opinions, brothers and sisters. See, I'm calling the shots. Don't let them muddy the water with you, because that's what they try to do. See, when they muddy the water, it makes you, again, try to confuse you, try to get you to be, how you say, docile. Like the answer to your problem, Brother James Hart, is to do nothing. That's not the answer. Brother Dennis Davis, the answer is never to sit on your ass and do nothing, which I know you don't do that. This book tells us clearly in Ecclesiastes 11:6 in the morning, what? Plant your what is, let's go over there real quick. Ecclesiastes. And we're going to go there and we're going to go a couple of other places. Because again, see, this is why the truth is so important, brothers and sisters, because it keeps us from what? Being afraid of the muddy water. See, the water is muddy because they try to confuse you, trying to throw everything at you. The New Testament, the book of the dead, the book of Adam and Eve, the book of this. Have brothers, book of this, book of that, book of this, the book of that. Have you read the book of this? I said to my brothers and sisters, I know Sister Martinez had asked me a while ago about these additional books. And I told that sister, Ecclesiastes 12:12 is your answer. Solomon got caught up in all kind of idolatry, brothers and sisters, all kind of sorcery and witches. Solomon died 55 years old. That's not a full life. This book says the life of a person is supposed to be 7-year-old, and if they're blessed, 10. That's 80 years old. Solomon lived to be 55 years old. And you know why? Because he dove into the occult with all these different books. And even he said too much reading of those books caused confusion. That's what he means by weariness. He said it caused him confusion. Then all of a sudden he got his priorities mixed up. And then the next thing you know, he was in idolatry, in excess. And then even he concluded the most important thing for a man or a woman is what? Fear Yahuah and keep his commandments. You can read that in that same chapter, verse 14. But here's in Ecclesiastes, it says this. Verse 6, chapter 11, verse 6. It says, in the morning sow your seed, and in the evening withhold not your hand, for you know not whether it shall prosper, either this or that, or whether they both shall be alike good or prosperous. So what does this mean? This means that we should constantly be, as Brother Pion and I were talking about, grinding it to powder. A lot of our brothers, I'm looking forward to retirement to do what? What I want to do. Exactly what do you want to do so bad that you so interested in doing nothing to do? Show me the word retirement in this book, and I'll show you a misinterpretation. Enoch was 65 years old. We all read about it in Jasher chapter 3. He was done, or thought he was. And then what Yahuah tell him? Enoch, you got more work to do. And how much longer did he work? Another 3 years, another 4 years, 70 years old, whatever, to get the full employment, the Social Security? 300 plus years. How did he survive? The people took care of him. The very thing the people refused to do, who call themselves loving Yahuah, amongst many of us. When it comes down to putting in the work to help the work, they ain't doing that. You can forget that. Oh, no, it's not my responsibility. Then whose is it? This book said in your day of necessity, if you don't do the work, he said in your day of need, he's going to ignore you. He's going to look the other way. But because of muddy water, fear, confusion, our people are listening to devils. The devil in your house, the devil that's in many of you. You're a walking devil. You're the devil. You go up against Yahuwah's Torah, you go up against his prophet, you go up against this word, you're the devil. And because I know that you're the devil, I'm going to treat you like you're the devil. You're not my friend. Oh, no, I don't love you. Hell, I hate your ass. Sister Mariska, I hate them. Sister Marsha Kara, I hate them. I hate those who hate Yahuwah. I don't give a shit if it's my son. I don't care if it's my cousin. I don't give a shit if it's my daughter. I don't care who it is. And that conviction better be on every one of those of you who call yourselves righteous before Yahuwah. You can't trust him with all your heart and then doing what you want to do. You muddying the waters. And that's why you can't see the blessing that Yahuah has in store for you. And you never will, because you're too self-centered. You're too rebellious. You think because he doesn't see you, you can do it, and somehow or another it was not seen. How is that? I don't get it. You know, we studied in the book of Tobit, chapter 12, not long back. Remember that, brothers and sisters? We studied there. And what did we learn? That Raphael said he was he was watching you, who had sent him to watch Sarah and Tobit Sr. And had seen what they were doing, even though they did not know. They were being humiliated, they were being disrespected, they were being called names. I guarantee you they were called saying you in a cult. Oh, you listen to that crazy. I bet they would say every kind of scope of mocking. That's what mocking is, brothers. Some of y'all might hear, what is mocking? When somebody accuses you for standing up for the truth by following someone who Yah has put in place to teach you the truth. When they open up their mouth, they're the mockers. Could be your mama, could be your cousin, could be your father. Those are the mockers. That's what a mocker is, in case you did not know. Now you do know. And who said he's going to destroy them? They're going to regret opening their mouth. He said, touch not my anointing, do my prophet no harm. He is going to destroy them. And I'm not talking about, when they die. He's going to get them right here. See, what they don't want to deal with is the time. See, they all walk in the spirit of they got time, brothers and sisters. This is what the wicked do. I got time. So instead of them being obedient, they over there trying to, what you say, I want to use the term buying time. I don't know if my brothers and sisters know what that is. Probably most of you do. Buying time is when somebody's not doing what they're supposed to do, with the attitude that one day they will. No, they won't. If that's you, no, you're not. This book tells us, fret not for tomorrow, because thou not know what a day will bring. So what time are you talking about? Now, not what Proverbs told us. Let's take a peek over there, then we'll come back to let's see what Solomon said. Since he was the wisest man, except when he started reading all them occultic books, that ever lived. And many of you think you're getting smart by reading that. No, you're just falling farther and farther away from Yahuah. Oh, no, I'm just trying to increase my knowledge. No, you're not. You're in the occult. Look at Proverbs 27 says, boast not yourself for tomorrow, for you know not what a day might bring forth. So all you planning this and planning that. And you're boasting because you're willing to tell somebody, or you bought a ticket, you bought this, you doing that, you're celebrating that, you're planning that. That's boasting. That's what boasting is. It means you are confidently doing something as though you know what's going to happen tomorrow. That's called arrogance. That's called pride. That's called stiff-neck. That's called rebellion. This says not to do it. But of course they're not going to stop doing it. And they're going to hate you and I for telling them about their behavior. But then when something happens, there's no one going to get that phone call? Most likely one of us. Middle of the night, early in the morning, we're going to get the call. But what they soon to find out, that phone going to ring and there's not going to be a voice on the other end. So Yahuah said he's going to cut us off from them. See, when Noah and the people got in that ark in Joshua chapter 6, there was no more interaction. They tried to break it down. They tried to crush. They tried to, crash in like a Black Friday, you know what I'm saying, stampede. They couldn't. Y'all put them wild animals on them, ran them back. Cut them off. Noah hollered at him out the door. He says, too late. You should have listened. Book said for 120 years he tried to warn them, his grandfather and him. And there were others. If you read the book, it says, 1 year prior to the flood, many righteous people were taken off this earth. Righteous, not wicked, righteous. Because y'all didn't want them to go through the suffering that was coming. But Noah and his family, he let stay as a witness. Just like he's letting us stay. Some of us are not going to see that because we're here as a witness against all of you out there who are shaking your fist at Yahuah by claiming he didn't tell us to tell you what we're telling you out of this book. And because you like to play games with Yahuah, you try to confuse, you try to muddy the water, then you want to come over here pushing over your first John. You might want to go back and read about who wrote the book of John and Matthew and Mark and Luke. You have no idea what you're talking about. Heathen wrote those books. King Leopold talks about it. Many of them talks about it. The Council at Nicaea, 325 AD, tells you that's when they came up with the New Testament. And that came right out of Rome, Italy, Edomites. How can Jesus be your God and their God? How can they be reading out the same book you reading out, but you ain't reading out the same book they're reading out? This is the stupidity of all these camps and communities. Of course, the churches. But the camps and communities sound like fools. We ain't no Christian doll. I ain't no Christian. But you're reading out of the Christian book. I don't believe in no Jesus. Jesus is, if there's no J's, they think they're smart by saying it. There ain't no J's. You got to know the Hebrew alphabet. But their name is Johnson, Smith, Williams. And teaching out of the same heathen book. It's amazing to me. It's amazing. Believe in the same Savior and Redeemer that heathens believe in. Although this book says Yahuah said there is no other Savior, there is no Redeemer but Yahuah. Period. Muddying the waters, confusing you. They're confused. They're between two opinions. I believe in the Ten Commandments. I thought you said the law was done away with. The Ten Commandments is in the book of Exodus and in the book of Deuteronomy. So how is the Torah done away with? Jesus and the law. Who the hell is Jesus? This book says the Torah is forever. Jubilees will tell you that. Let's take a peek at it. Hallelujah. Let's go over to the book of Jubilees. It's called Little Genesis. All you don't believe. I know you don't, because you don't want to deal with the truth. That's why you don't want to believe it. You think by sticking your head in the sand and pretending like, you can't see because you disagree that somehow or another you absorb from it. No, you're not. This book already said a fool hate knowledge, so of course he's talking about you. Look what he said here, 2nd Jubilees chapter 2, verse 32. He said, the creator of all things, that's Yahuah, blessed this day which he created for a blessing and holiness and the glory above all the days. This Torah and testimony, which is the Tanakh, for those of you claim you don't believe in the Tanakh, then you're a fool. He said, this Torah and testimony was given to the children of Yashar'el as a Torah forever until their generation. Do you not know what forever means? They're just trying to muddy the water by telling you it's done away with because the heathens gave them a God that gave them license to sin. License to go against the commandment. License to go against the Creator. That's why they embrace it. The heathens created a likeness. Just what did 1 Maccabees 3:48 say? Let's go over there. The heathens created the likeness. Made it real close, tied it into the book. That's why you got so-called Old Testament and New Testament in the same cipher. That's why many of us, again, by the direction of Sister Maria, took ours out. Talking about that New Testament idolatry, foolishness, sorcery. But look at First Maccabees said, chapter 3, verse 48. And they laid open the cipher of the Torah within the heathens, sought to paint the likeness of their images, their covenant, their Jesus or Yahuah, whatever name, their Peter, their Mark, their Matthew, their Luke, their John, their Barnabas, their Silas, their Timothy, their James, their Jude. Sure, I said Peter and Paul, but if I didn't, Peter and Paul again. Paul was such a freak. He said that he sinned so much that he just don't even care no more. So that's why he said, with my body I serve sin, but with my spirit I serve Lucifer. He said Jesus, but it's Lucifer. Why? Again, if you go back and look over at Isaiah 14, that's who they talking about down there. You'll think you're Jesus, the one who claimed died on the cross and came back from the dead, which is necromancing and praying to familiar spirits, which Deuteronomy 18, verses 9 through 12 tells you absolutely not to do it. And then verse 14 tell you the heathens do it. And what are our people doing? Exactly that. But somehow or another, we're in the wrong. He's not a prophet, although I'm telling you what the word of Yahuah says, which is what a prophet would have done. The prophet's job is to tell you what says Yahuah. He blocks out all the other paganism. He blocks out all the other folly, all the other foolishness. That's what a prophet does. And he asks Yahuah to bring down fire on wicked Baal believers, like many of those of you out there who call us into question. He gonna get you. I know you think you slick, you smooth. He gonna get your little ass. You give it a minute. You'll remember what I said then. He gonna get you. But just to remind my brothers and sisters, that's the lie they tell. They try to keep the waters muddy. Again, and if you're struggling in your walk, you're struggling in your conviction, you're struggling in your livelihood, whatever you're struggling in, you better go back and see what it is. You better deal with that sin in your house. You know, many of them out there looking for a pity party. Oh, elder, oh, sister, oh, brother. No, don't owe nothing to me. You don't owe me anything anyway. I know you don't mean like, oh, they mean like OOH. I'm talking about, the other one, OWE. You don't owe me nothing. But what you do owe is Yahuah. And you owe him to obey what he said. He said, touch not my anointing, do my prophet no harm. He said, a workman is worthy of his meat. You don't like me telling you that. But you run your asses right over there to Walmart come Christmas. Some of you sitting right here listening to me, claiming you love Yahuah, and you know good so well you got a turkey in that damn freezer. And if you don't, you gonna be running right over there. I give one of my dear sisters, I was talking to her the other day, sister, I ain't gonna call it, and she was saying how they sent a gift. And she said, don't give that gift, don't bring that gift in here. And they hid the gift. And that sister said, well, whenever you do reveal it, it's going straight in the trash can. That's the right attitude. She didn't say she's going to give it to the Salvation Army or she's going to go, put it in the closet and try to blame her relative for bringing the gift. She said, hell no, it's going in the trash can because she's not an idolater and she's not a pagan and she ain't allowing nobody to influence those in her responsibility with that folly. But to show you how wicked people can be, they're trying to, circumvent her. But they're right, she's wrong. She's saying, no, I'm living by this book. I'm going to do what this Torah says. Elder, y'all put you in place to teach and guide and educate. She said, that's exactly what I'm going to allow you to do. Teach, inform, and educate. And I'm going to stand by you as long as you stand by Yahuah. That's an intelligent woman. She's smart. But the rest of the fools, y'all know how they go. Oh, I don't see nothing wrong with it. Of course you don't, because it caters to your flesh. You're between two opinions. And just like that fire came down and burned up those prophets of Baal, that fire going to come down and burn you up too. Because you wouldn't listen to the wise. To the just you did not want to hear. But the book said what Ezekiel said, Ezekiel 33 and 33 said, but you will know. You will have been warned. You will know that he was a prophet, even though you didn't agree. Let's go over to the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, back as I said a moment ago. I want to read a few verses to my brothers and sisters. This is something for reflective. And then we're going to go over. We're going to go a little bit farther today. You know, as I told my brothers and sisters, if you knew how hard the enemy was working to keep you from hearing these teachings, you would definitely be ear hustling these teachings. You would save them. You would watch them over and over again. You know, some of you say, well, you know, if I watch it 5 times, it gets 5 views. No, brother, so you get 1 view. That's it. When you view it, YouTube algorithm only count it as 1. You can watch it. This same message, this one here, 10 times, it's only going to count for 1. But listen to it over and over anyway, because it's not about how many views YouTube gives it. It's about how it starts to marinate and change your heart. Sister Cynthia, if you really want to win, then get out your way. You heard what I said. If you really want to win, then get out of your way. And I can say that right across the board. If you want to be redeemed, get out the way. Get you out of the way and put Yahuah in the place where you used to be. Let his priority be your priority, not yours. And then you will see the blessings. You will see the prosperity. You would not have to walk in fear, and you wouldn't be afraid of the muddy water anymore. Yahuah says, don't be afraid of the muddy water. You go in the water confidently, you might come out there winning. You're saying, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not going to fear what man can do. I'm going to put my trust in Yahuah. I'm going to align myself with his prophet. He said, iron sharpens iron. He said, want to put 1,000 to fight. Psalms 91 and 7, 2 10,000. I will not be afraid of the terror by night. I will not be afraid by the arrows by day. I think it was that, Psalms 91 and 5. Thereabout. No weapon formed against me will prosper. Isaiah 54 and 14, 54 and 17. Though the enemy comes in like a flood. Isaiah 59 and 19. He shall soar like eagles, run not weary, walk not faint. Isaiah 40, 31. But as we're going through these times and all these trials and challenges that you're going to face, brothers and sisters, nobody's getting to escape it. You don't get to sit this out. Those who were in the ark were spared. Those who were on the ground were destroyed, but nobody got to sit it out. What's coming is coming for everybody. What if for Ezra 8 and 3 says the world was made for many, right, brothers and sisters, but only a few will be saved. And that few is those who have a perfect heart for Yahuah. And I mean a perfect heart. And that means an obedient heart, a submissive heart, a contrite heart, a repentant heart, a submissive heart. I think I said that already. A heart that can be taught by Yahuah's instructors. Go read Exodus chapter 18. Some over 1,000, some over 100, some over 50, some over 10. And if you can't be taught by them, then you're not Yahuah's. His chosen to teach. His chosen. His chosen to teach his elect. But look at Ecclesiastes chapter 3. It says, to everything there is a season, a time to every purpose under the heavens. And this is why, again, we should not walk in fear. We're supposed to be walking in confidence. But if you're over playing between two opinions, then your life is always going to be, in shambles. Your life is always going to be, on edge. The nightmares you having, they're going to come to pass. You can't escape this. You can't circumvent judgment. There's a time for it, and it's soon to come. It's already happening. It says a time to be born, verse 2, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pick up that which is planted. It means harvest. You sow, you reap. You don't sow, you don't reap. What does the proverb says? Where there is no oxen, the crib is clean. Many of you want Yah's blessing, but you refuse to be a blessing. Like somehow or another, you're going to pervert Yah's word by saying, I'm going to get what I want, but I ain't going to do what he tells me to do to assure that I have it. And let me say this while I'm thinking about it. I hear tell, I'm not going to call your name out, my dear brother. I'm going to be real. I want to make sure you understand. I'm talking about you. I hear you over there listening on the channel with some guy, even though he's Israelite, talking about believing in the dead coming back, reincarnation. And I'm going to tell you something, dear brother. I've always said things well about you. But if I hear about you over there again, then I'm going to excommunicate you. We don't deal with neuromancy. The book said, what does Ecclesiastes say, 9 and 4? He says what? A living dog is better than a dead lion. Why? Because the dead know nothing. They have no more reward. Means there ain't no reincarnation of nothing. And anybody preaching sorcery and you over there listening to them, then now you are compromising yourself. And Yahuah is exposing you to warn you to put it out, to stop it, brother. He brought it to my attention. I didn't even go over there to see your comment over there, but it was brought to my attention. Shall there be a secret he not reveal it to his servant, the prophet? That is to warn you. You take that comment down, you need to repent of that. You need not go visit that channel anymore. Or do what you want to do. But you're not going to walk with me as a brother if you decide to do that. So you're going to have to make a decision. Goes on to say, back to this. I just need to say that. He knows who he is. There's a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, a time to encourage, build up. There's a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. Hallelujah. Praise Yahuah for that. Some of y'all think that because we're believers, we can't, celebrate. No, we celebrate in a different way. We don't celebrate amongst heathens and we don't celebrate amongst the abominable. But yeah, we can dance. We can have our own little things. We can do, and we will. Those who are with Elder DFG, this prophet, when we come together, we are going to do those things. If this book says we can do it, we're going to do it. But we're going to do it in a righteous, clean way. Our daughters ain't going to be twerking. Our men, brothers, ain't going to be walking around sagging, swinging their locks all over the place. Our daughters, our women going to have on beautiful attire. And our men will be attired accordingly. But we will dance. Hallelujah. Some of us can dance. Hallelujah. And if you can't, you still can dance. Your dance is your dance. Hallelujah. As long as you, doing it in the right environment under the right circumstances. Verse 5 says, a time to cast away stones, time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and this part right here. But many of you, as I said earlier, is a time for you to disembrace. Again, you're embracing your wicked family members, and you know they're wicked because you know they don't keep this Torah, but they like you, so you want to be subservient to them. But you say you only serve Yahuah. That's two opinions, my brother. Let's go on. It says a time to get. It's a time to lose. A time to guard. A time to cast away. Again, see how he's talking about putting things away from us, brothers and and sisters, putting people away from us. Sometimes Yahuah will open the door and they'll put themselves away from us. And you'll be offended. You'll feel bad about what they did, but sometimes you got to step back and recognize maybe Yahuah, caused that to protect you from them. But sometimes, some of us have a hard time letting things go. Things that Yahuah said let go a long time ago. And sometimes he'll block them. Like he was blocking the path of Balaam in the book of Numbers chapter 23. But if you keep coming, he's going to just say, well, get out the way. Let him through. Let them through. And you'll regret it. Y'all say, I'm not going to keep on wrestling and fighting. He said, they don't love me. So why you love them that hate me? Again, 2 Chronicles chapter 19. He goes on and says, a time to tear, a time to sow, a time to keep silent, and a time to speak up. You sisters, please remember, time to shut your mouths. Just because you thinking something don't mean you're supposed to say it. How many things you thinking you're not supposed to say it? Y'all probably saying to you, go repent. Go wash your mouth out. Verse 8, time to love, a time to hate. Since the Christian lie, oh, you don't hate. What Solomon said he said is a time to hate. So who you going to believe, them or you going to believe what's in this book? This is why that New Testament, you shouldn't be reading that lie. That's a book full of lies. Half-truth mixed with, half-truths mixed with lies. That makes it sorcery. That's how sorcery works. Tell you truth, but lies in the middle of it. Hope you don't see the snares, the small foxes that spoiled the vineyard. Hope you don't see the little snares in there. Then there you running over there, embracing it, and now you're in their cult. He goes on and says, there's a time for war, a time for peace. War's coming. He said, what profit has he that works wherein he labors? He said, you think your profit is in your works and your profit is in your obedience. See, many of you confuse your job with blessings. Your job should be a means to be a blessing. What did Deuteronomy Sirach 38 says? Yahuah said the physician is going to be over there praying and teaching while you over there working and being blessed in what you do, and then you give a little bit what you get from your work over to him so he can not be distracted. But many of y'all want to say that's hypocrisy. Oh, no, I'm not supposed to do that. You're lying. You don't know what you're talking about. If you're not lying, you're deceived. Which, I don't know if that's a different without a distinction, because if you're lying about something because you don't know what you're talking about, maybe it's best for you to just be quiet and just continue to learn and then put into action what you're learning. Because you got a spirit of greed don't mean that the elder has a spirit of greed. So don't be projecting sorcerers on me. That's you. Elder give. There are people who know that. Just not to the wicked. So how can you justify not giving? You can't, but you do. Because you're catering to your own lust. When it comes down to pouring into the heathens and their things, whatever that is, you run over there. Never question anything. Verse 10, see, I have seen the travail which Elohim has given to the sons of men to be exercised in. See, the trouble that's coming. He has made everything beautiful in his own time. He's also set the world in their heart. That's what Yahuah said. So that no man can find out the work that Yahuah makes from the beginning to the end. Yahuah said there are mysteries. There are some things you'll never figure out. That's why too much studying, as Solomon says, weariness of the mind. Some of you are spending way too much time trying to figure things out instead of just being obedient to what you do know. And that's why you'll never have the full blessings of Yahuah. You'll never get past the muddy water. You'll see the muddy water and you'll become afraid. And what you're going to do, you're going to turn back like a dog to his vomit. You're going to go back to where you were. You're just going to do a reset. backsliding heifer, what Hosea called them. Israel's a bunch of whores and whoredom and backsliding heifers is what he said. Here the women follow other whores. Go read it for yourself. Go read Hosea chapter 4. Read past verse 6. Read on down to the end. You'll see it. It's right there. But that's no different than what Isaiah chapter 1 is saying when he said the ox knows his owner, the ass his master's crib, but your people, Yashar'el, does not know, and they won't even consider when you try to help them to know. They don't want to hear the truth. They want convenient lies, cognitive dissonance, convenient lies for uncomfortable truth. As soon as you tell them it's in the book, sister, where? Right there. And all of a sudden they get real quiet because they know they're not going to do it. But again, Ezekiel said they love to hear the word. They'll dance about the word. They'll celebrate about the word. But when it comes down to actually doing it, so they ain't going to do it, not if they don't agree with it. Agree with what? Yahuah's word. Now, how is that not pride? I'm just asking. Brothers, how is that not pride? The word says this and you're not doing it, but you're not walking in pride. So when you look at Proverbs 18 and 12, it's talking about you. Pride come before destruction, high-minded for. We're talking about you, sister. Talking about you, brother. The moment you look at this word, and because you don't agree with that, you're not going to do that, you opt out. That's pride. And that's witchcraft. Pride and witchcraft, bed partners. They're one and the same. It's exactly why Saul got called a witch, because of his pride, which is rebellion, doing what he wants to do. Not what the book says. And I could be corrected. Well, then act like it. Demonstrate it. Or quit lying. It's up to you, to yourself. Elder been around here a long time. Elder is a well-traveled man. What is the proverb said? Always listen to a well-traveled man. Talking about that's of Yahuah that loves him and love his word, because he knows some things. Even one who don't love Yahuah, don't know the word. If he got some life experience, he might be able to tell you a thing or two. A broken clock is right twice a day, as the old saying goes. But if they've been there, done that, you might want to check it out before you go do that and find out the hard way about that. So Yahuah said, that things none of y'all going to know about. These things I'm going to reveal it to my prophet, period. And he will tell you through, if you trust me and you trust him like I told you to, hear him, then you'll know. And if that's too much for you, then go do such and such. Or go do whatever you want to do. Verse 13, Yahuah's not going to stop you. So go do whatever you want to do. He ain't stopped Balaam. He told Balaam, come up that road, put that angel there, say, turn back. Balaam turned back. Then Yahuah said, you know what? No. Let him go. He wants to do that. Just let him pass. He's going to say to his sister, go ahead on. Keep on going. You don't really mean your repentance. He said, just go ahead. Come on in. Come on. Go ahead. Balaam got there, got what he was looking for, got the answer, went back. But then guess what happened to Balaam down the road? Balaam was killed. Yahuah killed him. So you're not going to get away with it in the long term. Some of you confusing short-term, progress with long-term success. No, it's not. Solomon said in Proverbs 14 and 12, he said, just like this, Brother Keith, he said, there's a way that seems right to some of them, but that way is the way of death. You're going to let them We're just going to let them fall into their own trap. Verse 14 says, I know, this is Solomon again, whatever Yahuah does, it shall be forever. Just like that Torah. Nothing can be added to it or taken away from it. Just like Deuteronomy 4:2 says, just like Proverbs 30, chapter 30, verse 5 through 6 says, just like Numbers 23:19 says, like Malachi chapter 3 and 6 says. So you can't add to Yahuwah's word, and you can't subtract, whether you disagree with it or not. It doesn't matter how you feel. See, that's where you get, that's the snare. That's where you get trapped. That's where you're going to get destroyed, brothers and sisters. Those who get destroyed right there. Thinking that they can do what they want to do. They can, like the potter and the clay, Yahuwah is the clay, and you the potter. That's why I said that, my brothers and sisters, you listen to these heathens talking about you gods. Psalms 86:4 say we all gods, we are God. No, it just means you have a choice. You can make decisions. Solomon told you can build, you can kill, you can do all kinds of things here. That's what he's talking. But you're not the creator. You're nowhere near the creator. Say, my ways are not your ways, and my thoughts are not your thoughts. That's Isaiah 55:8. So what are you talking about? You're misinterpreting scripture because of your arrogance or because of your pride. Because you don't want to be told anything. That's why people go around and say, I'm a God. Just another slick, clever way of saying, of being rebellious. That's all it is, brother. Taking the scripture out of context. No, Yah just said, Yahuwah said, I put before you life and death. Choose. Like Isaiah said, Elijah again, 1 Kings 18:18. How long will y'all be between two opinions? That's all it means. You can make a decision. But understand this, the soul that sinned, meaning your soul, you going to die. And you're going to burn in hell. Isaiah 66:24. Someone was asking, well, brother, isn't hell a pagan Grecian ideology? I say, I'm not saying that the Greeks did not talk about hell, and the Assyrians and other barbarians talked there. I'm not saying they don't talk about hell, but I know one damn thing, Isaiah 66:24 saying somebody else is going to be burning. And Isaiah wasn't no Greek. And nor is Yahuwah. But see, this is what happens when you start wrestling with the truth. Because you're trying to avoid, consequential, judgment. But about talking about the non-existence of hell, maybe you ought to be talking about being obedient and doing what is righteous so you can inherit the blessings of Yahuwah. Stop trying to muddy the waters. And maybe I was able to help you by giving you that information. Maybe I'm helping you now by saying it, or maybe I'm helping others. I can only do what Yah puts in my heart to say and do, and that is what I am doing. It's personal. Verse 14 says, I know that whatever Yahuwah does, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken away from it. Yahuwah does it, and men shall fear before him. But men don't fear before Yahuwah, but they fear before men. So they're worrying about what a man can do to you. But when it comes down to what Yahuwah will do to you, all of a sudden, they're bold. But you're only bold until you're no longer bold. What did Proverbs chapter 29 says in 1? Look at this. Proverbs 21:9. He that's often corrected, if you got to keep getting corrected about your behavior, you got to keep getting warned about your behavior, you got to keep getting told about your behavior, and you don't change it, he says this, you harden your neck. Same word as stiff-necked. Same word as stop listening to the correction. Shall suddenly be destroyed. You know what suddenly means? Any moment, any minute. You get on the plane crash. You get on the boat sank. You go to the store, the car crash. You got a knot in your breast, it's terminal cancer. Y'all don't play. I'm not saying to my dear sisters who are dealing with those kind of illnesses, this is why you should be over here with us, because Yahuah said the physician can pray for you. If your heart is right. We saw many examples of that. We saw with the young prophet with the king, when Yah shriveled his hands up, what did Yahuah? Yah released the man's hands through the young prophet. We saw Elijah and Elisha, heal a young man. Some say bring them back to life. I think they were in a coma state, but not quite dead. And if you don't think it's possible, come on, let's go over here. Come on, let's go over to the book of 2 Kings, chapter 5. I hope this is helping some of you. I know most of you are going to take this teaching for granted, just like you normally do. So that is what it is. So I don't expect you to take any sense of ownership of this teaching. But for those of you who are smart enough to do it, I guarantee you one thing, you'll see Yah's blessings in your life. You're going to see that Yahuah's word is true. He's not a man that he should lie. Why do you think, again, like I said earlier, this message, I guarantee you, brothers and sisters, it could probably take me at least an hour and a half to download this message. Now, I know, all of y'all know to download a video or something like that, it should take, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? This will probably be up 2 hours plus, possibly, and it's going to take me another almost 2 hours to download it of my time, where I have to sit somewhere, find internet, and download it and then post it and all that other stuff. And I'm not saying that to make you feel some kind of empathy for me. I'm just telling you, for you to just blow it off is a big indicator of where your heart is. Because something, should recognize that if he's going to put in that kind of work, the least I could do is support the work he's doing and listen and learn. Because I do love Yahuah. Talking about I like me. Elder DFG. And obviously I'm not the only one. See, the one thing about this elder, this watchman, this prophet, I take this word, this word is life for me. Brother and Sister Yancey, it's life for me. This is not something I look at Brother Sister Trenda and you say, oh, it's something that's nice to see. It's life for me. See, my soul is tied up into this book. Everything about me is tied up into this book. The book allowed me to be a man. Let me be masculine. Let me be bold and not afraid. I love these words. I love this book. I love Yahuah. And I love the righteous remnant. And I know that where there's one of us, there's two. Elijah remember when he was running from Jezebel, he was in a cave and he came out. Y'all told him and said, look, come on, you got more work to do. But prior to that, what did he say? Jezebel was trying to, kill me. I'm the only prophet left. And what did Yahuah tell Elijah? He said, no, you're not. And I will remind you, he said, there's 7,000 others that have not bowed their knee, to idolatry and paganism. So what I say to my brothers and sisters, just because your family ostracized you and friends ostracize you, the workplace you're being ostracized, wherever you go you're being ostracized, hey, don't sweat it. You're not alone. We're here too. So just like Yahuah encouraged Elijah to remind him of that, Yahuah is using me to encourage you, to remind you of that, brothers and sisters. You're not alone. If you're doing what is right before Yahuah. If you're not, then you're going to be, not only, your loneliness is going to turn into desolation pretty soon. Your loneliness is going to turn into desperation. Desperation is coming. Your loneliness is going to be a part of your being ravaged and a part of your destruction. Just like the book of, it's telling us in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 3, 10 down through 13. Really 10 to 12. It's coming. And ain't nobody going to stop it. Isaiah chapter 3 talks about what's going to happen to the men and the women of Zion. Isaiah chapter 4 and 1 talks about how horrific it's going to be for the daughters of Zion who allow themselves to be out there uncovered. Those who survive the massacre. Those who the dog don't eat. The men don't eat. The rats and roaches that many of you despise, rats eat humans. So do pigs. And other humans eat humans. Typically, Israel don't eat Israel. Typically, we don't. But this book said that they ain't going to get so bad, even Israel going to eat Israel. Go read, again, the book of Deuteronomy. In the Torah, chapter 28, verse 53. It's sitting right there, Sister Simpson, Brother Elmer. It's there. Brother Donnie Martin, it's right there. I know y'all know that, but I'm just saying it's there. So a man going to eat his own children. So if he's eating his own children, I wonder what his wife going to be doing. His woman going to be doing. She sure ain't going to be able to stop him from doing it. You see how bad it's about to get for them, brothers and sisters? So these liars telling them, oh, the economy is going to recover and we're going to do a new world. That's why they're going underground, right? That's why they're talking about 3-eye atlas. 3-eye, third eye, pyramid. Think about it. Atlas, what? A god that's got the world on his shoulder. Atlas. That's who that is. 3-eye atlas. Third eye atlas. See how occultic that wickedness is? That when they talk about coming out of, the stellar, whatever thing they talking about, the comet, that's all bull crap lies. Nothing above that firmament coming below this firmament. Ain't nothing up there but the throne of Yahuah and all of the luminaries anyway. But beneath that firmament and beneath this earth, there's other things down there that's living. The book never said there wasn't. We know about the Salat. Up in the book of Jasher chapter, 80? That came from under the earth, unlocked doors. And the demons went in, unlocked doors, and let all kind of plagues into the homes of the Egyptians in the first Exodus. They thought they were getting away by locking up in their bunkers, locking up in their houses, locking up in their forts. They got, walls. They got shutters on their windows. They got all kind of stuff. They put all this money, resources in, so when the war comes, I'm going to be safe. You just put money in bags with holes in it. You just wasted all that money. You bought all that stuff, and the rats going to eat it up. Or the thieves going to take it. Don't y'all remember, brothers and sisters, Ezekiel talks about in the last days how that, your neighbors and stuff are going to be kicking in the doors and coming in and taking your spoil, taking your food. Y'all people, destroy for a lack of knowledge. They never even think beyond the obvious. They're just so busy doing stuff, they never even think, well, how you going to protect it? How you going to defend it? You're in rebellion to Yashar'el, and you think that somehow or another he's going to just let you keep it. He's going to just come fight for you for no reason, just because you said so. I was talking the other day about in Second Maccabees, I believe it is. Let's go over there real quick. I'm coming back here. As you probably can tell, I'm not in any particular type of hurry. We got our Tanakh study tomorrow night. It's going to be a real lesson in this. I'll tell you one thing. I'll give you a hint. It's going to be in the apocryphal books. There's going to be a book of learning. So I guess if you care, you'll be there. All right, let's go over to 4 Ezra. I just want to share it because I just think it's worth sharing. These people claim that you love Yahuah. Oh, he ain't this and he ain't that. Well, again, I know what I'm doing, what you doing, other than talking about me. Some of these men out here, I think you undercover homosexual. That's why you over here. But I'm masculine. I'm apex predator. I deal with females. So you're wasting your time. That's your uncle now. That's your dudes that you hang on them corners with. You niggas be popping each other in the ass. I don't play them games. So don't come over here looking for my attention. Because you're not going to get it. Look at 4 Ezra chapter 15, verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but they shall destroy their houses with the sword, which with their guns and weapons, and spoil their goods, meaning take their stuff, because of their own hunger and for the great tribulation. So you think that all that storing up and all that stuff, that somehow or another this book is going to change for you. No, it isn't. You would say he's going to gather his elect from the four corners of the earth, and we're going to fight right there. He's going to come right there and fight where we are, not in your house, brother, not in your house, sister. He's going to be where we are, not where you are. Because you over there in rebellion, you doing your own thing. You've been doing that. And Yahuah sent this prophet to warn you of it, and you're still not listening to it. So you're putting, what did Hagar say? This is what Hagar says to you. To all of you who fit this description. This is what Hagar has to say. Just so you know, Yahuah loves you enough for me to tell you, do you love yourself enough to listen? Yes, that's your challenge, isn't it? Hallelujah. Praise Yahuah. Love. Somebody might say, oh, I love to hear you flipping them pages. Me too, believe it or not. Look what it says in the book of Haggai, chapter 1, says this. So you have sown much, but you bring in little. Now remember, Ecclesiastes said, when you sow, you're supposed to reap. You're over here saying, you've sown much, but you reap little. That's why. See, that sounds like a contradiction, but it really isn't. Listen carefully. He said, you have sown much, but you bring in little. You eat, but you don't have enough. You drink, but you are not filled with drink. You have clothes, but you are still not warm. You have earned, why? He said, because you earn wages and put those wages in bags with holes in it. And why? Because you focus on you instead of focus on Yahuah. That's why it contradicts. It doesn't contradict. That's why many think it's a contradiction. When Solomon's talking about the time for things, he's just talking about things in its natural order. Hagar is saying this is judgment. This is those who doing all this building, all this stirring up of stuff, but you are stirring up of things, but you think that somehow or another those things are going to save you or protect you from the judgment that's coming. And I'm just telling you, it isn't. He said, you're just putting money in a bag with holes in it. Thieves going to rob you and take it. Just like Ezra said it would happen. Just like, so we're going to go down just like that. But see, you're dealing in the muddy water. You're afraid of the muddy water. So you're doing something else. You're doing your own thing. Let's go back over to 2 Kings. Again, chapter 5, verse 1. Now Naaman, king of the host of the king of Aram, was a great man with his master, and honorable because by him Yahuah had given deliverance to Aram. So Yahuah was working even sometimes, with the strangers. Especially if there's somebody righteous within there, he may help them. He may do something for them. Isaiah 56, what is that? 6, 7, 8, 9, there and about talks about. He said there's some righteous strangers that's going to be blessed more above of Israel. So Sister Linda, a couple of other you out there, if you're doing what you say you're doing, then you have hope. You have a reason to be hopeful. But you got to do more than just being a common sister. You're going to have to put your, you're going to have to put your money where your mouth is. I don't know how else to tell you. You're going to have to get some work in. Can't just be talking. Got to go beyond talking. Goes on here, he says this. Verse 2. That was to the righteous stranger out there, so-called, if you happen to be. And you're not if you don't get this. 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 1. Now Naaman, king of the host of the king of Aram, was a great man with his master, and honorable because by him Yahuah had given deliverance to Aram. You But he said, I'll read it again. Verse 1, and Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Aram, was a great man with his master, and honorable because by him Yahuah had gave deliverance unto Aram. Talking about by who? Naaman. He was a righteous stranger heathen. And he was also a mighty man in valor, but he had leprosy. And the Arahims had gone out by companies, meaning their armies, and had brought away captives out of the land of Yashar'el, a little maid, and her name, and she waited on Naaman, woman. So she was an Israelite that was in captivity. Like when our people were enslaved, some of us like, well, we all still in captivity. Different degrees of it, but we're still in it. But this young woman loved Yahuah. Watch this. This is why I'm talking about these sisters who are raising these young girls, you know what I'm saying, in the righteousness, their babies. Y'all going to bless you, mama, and he going to bless you too, daughter, so you keep listening to mama. You ain't missing out on nothing but these heathens. He can't give you what Yahuah can give you. Yahuah can give you perfection. Going to keep you beautiful, keep you strong, keep you healthy, keep you blessed. And one day you will be royalty. You're already royalty, but you're going to have real royalty. Ain't no junk these people can give you that can be broken and, trash and garbage made by heathens and bring it to you. I was talking about this is an expression of love. No, it isn't. Expression of love is someone training you up in the ways of the Creator. That's the expression of love. And you're getting it, so praise Yahuah. But let's continue on here. It says, in Arahim, the Arahims had gone out by companies and had brought away captives in the land of Yashar'el, a little maid, and she waited on Naaman's woman. And she said unto her mistress, would to Yahuah, my Elohim, my Lord, Yahuah, my Lord, with the prophet in Sherman. She said, I wish Yahuah was with us here. Because y'all would know what I know is what she's saying. But he would recover him of his leprosy. Now he's saying Yahuah would do it. Let's see who actually does it, brothers and sisters. Verse 4. And one went in, somebody overheard her, and told his Lord, saying, thus and thus said the maid that is of the land of Yashar'el. And the king of Aram said, Go, and I will send the cipher unto the king of Yashar'el. And he departed. And he's telling it to Nahum. Say, this girl's saying somebody over there can heal you. So let's go check it out, brother. Why not? Tried everything else. That ain't working. That's what we ought to be thinking about as Israel. We've tried everything else. It ain't working for us. These perverted relationships, for example. I said perverted relationships. They don't work. These perverted marriages, they don't work. Except, you're tied in with Yahuah 110 toes down. 9 out of 10 of these divorces happen, and the 1 out of 10 that stays together, with a rare exception, they're miserable. The evidence is everywhere. But our people choose to ignore it because, our people are pagans. They're in sorcery. Not all of us, praise Yahuah. It's always going to be that small righteous remnant. Let's continue on. He says this. He says, now go and send this book to the king of Yashar'el. And he departed. And he took with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 pieces of gold, and 10 changes of raiment. You notice he didn't send him empty-handed. I remember when King Saul was looking for his ass. He wasn't the king at that particular time. You can read about that in 1 Samuel chapter 9. And they were looking for their ass, and his servants say, hey, the prophet Samuel is up that hill, up that mountain over there, I believe is where he lives. Not the mountain, but wherever he was. He's over there. So let's go over there, and he might be able to tell us, where I think it was an ass they were looking for, a donkey. And Saul told him, well, we can't go because we don't have anything to bring him. And his servant said, well, we do have a little bit of silver. Saul said, we do? He said, yeah. He said, right here. He said, okay, then let's go. That way we can give him something because we don't expect something for nothing. He's going to give us the word. He's going to give us the prophecy, and we're going to support. We're going to give him something in exchange for what he gave us. See, when David said in 1 Chronicles 21, chapter 21, verse 24, he said, I would offer Elohim nothing that didn't cost me something. See, that's what a righteous man or righteous heart. Saul, before he became the wicked Saul, understood that. Naaman, even this wicked king, understood that. So you don't go ask something of the man of Yahuah empty-handed. So let's go on. He says here, verse 6. And he brought the cipher to the king of Yashar'el, saying, or the book, now, where is this book? He said, now, when this book is come unto you, behold, I have within sent Naaman, my servant, to you, that you may recover him of it. Excuse me, that you may recover him of his leprosy. That's what he wrote in the book. So when the king opens up the book, he looked in there and said, oh, wait. Who told you that I had healing power? Now he's looking at it like, wait a minute now. First of all, the king is saying, I'm a king. I don't have no healing power. So what are you talking about? He goes on to say, as said, verse 7, it came to pass when the king of Yashar'el read the cipher or the book that he tore his clothes and said, I am Yahuah. Am I Yahuah? So when these liars talking about their gods, this man said clearly, he said, I'm not Yahuah. To kill and to make alive, that this man sends unto me to recover a man of his leprosy. Wherefore, I pray that you see, or that he seeks to start a fight with me. And he's looking at it like, so is this dude trying to create a situation so we can have a war? And it was so, when Elijah, the man of Elohim, heard that the king of Yashar'el had torn his clothes, he sent to the king, saying, wherefore have you torn your clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Yashar'el. Look how self-assured Elijah is. He's not saying, well, I wonder if everybody think I'm called to do. He didn't even think about the rest of the people. He said, you tell the king, send him to me. I got the king's back. So they sent him here. And before some of y'all start getting it twisted up, no, Enoch was a king. Joseph was more or less a king. Moses was a king. And Yah did hearken to Moses. And Moses had power to restore. He had power to do things other kings could not do. So don't get it twisted. Sometimes king and prophet, same people is what I'm saying. Let's go on. But not in this case. Verse 8, and it was so when Elijah, the man of Elohim, heard the word that the king of Yashar'el had torn his clothes, that he sent to the king, saying, wherefore have you torn your clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Yashar'el. And there's a prophet in Yashar'el right now. It doesn't matter. And nobody has to, I don't have to prove my credentials to anyone. My credentials are validated by Yahuah. And Yahuah alone. But there are righteous brothers and sisters who know it because Yahuah has revealed it to them. Yahuah has revealed who I am to many of our brothers and sisters. Maybe just not you. And there's probably a good reason why he hasn't revealed it to you. Because he's not going to use me to help you. He's going to leave you to yourself. He said, because you're not going to listen anyway. You don't listen to anybody except they are saying what you want to hear. Sister, brother, or overall Yashar'el. That's what I mean by that. Because you ain't my sister, you ain't my brother if you reject this word. You my enemy. Let's go on. And was so when Elijah, the man of Elohim, I'm sorry, I keep going through the same thing 3 times. Verse 9, so Naaman came with his horses and his chariot, and he stood at the door of the house of Elijah. And Elijah sent a messenger unto him, saying, go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and your flesh shall come again to you, that you shall be clean. Now remember, Titus and the Sirach chapter 38, brothers and sisters. This is why we teach. This is why we inform. This is exactly why we educate here in the DFG family, as we associate ourselves with. We're just a like-minded group of believers who are following Yah's messenger to grow in knowledge, grow in grace, and to be blessed, and to prosper, and avoid the judgment that's coming against the wicked on this flat earth. So he's telling them, go into the Jordan, get in there, and you'll be better. But Naaman was angry, and he went away and said, behold, I thought he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of Yahuah, and then strike his hand over the place and recover the leprosy. So he's saying, wait a minute, I thought it was going to be more than that. Just go get in the water. He said, nah, that's what these devils telling everybody to get baptized in. Was foolish lies, BS crap. He didn't think like that. But see, this man is looking for something supernatural instead of just looking for the word. And that's Israel again. They always want to look for something supernatural. It's got to be spiritual. I have a dream. I had a vision. Yah gave me a word. He didn't give you anything. Sirach 34 tells you about that kind of behavior, brothers and sisters. But when you don't study the word or you want to hear the truth, then of course you believe lies. Tells you clear, don't get caught up in no damn dreams. Verse 12, he says, and are not Abana and Papa, or Pawper, rivers in Damascus, this is his name, and saying, better than all the rivers of Yashar'el? May I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and he went away in anger, in a rage. And his servant came near and spoke to him and said, my Lord, my father, if the prophet had bid you to do some great thing, you would not done it? How much rather than when he says to you, wash and be clean? He's saying that, see, this is why we get caught up in folly and foolishness, brother, because we're always looking for some big event. That's why people run to these churches, run to these big old, synagogues and organizations and these feast of dedication, because they're always looking for something big and something exciting, because Yahuah is with us. No, he isn't. Yahuah don't use men and women for glamour. He don't use men and women to in their celebrations to validate him. That's what the heathens do. That's what all their holidays about, validating their gods. And when you're over there, that's exactly what you're participating in. You got to be a part of something. Why just like what he's saying, don't the rivers over here cleaner? The water's brighter. We got better water. We got better this. Y'all want us to be over here in the mud. Y'all just want us to be over here sad like y'all. Okay, then take your ass over there. See what happens. But Joshua said, y'all can do whatever you want to do. What Joshua 24 and 15 says, brothers and sisters, let them go do whatever they want to do. Brother Starks, Brother Benjamin, that's what he said to him. So let them go on over there. They'll regret it. He said, but me and my house, we serving Yahuah. Hallelujah. Don't need all the glamour and gliss. We don't need the parades and the festivals and the feast days. As a matter of fact, Amos said that Yahuah hates them. Amos 5 and 20 says, I despise your feast days, your holidays. What do you think about Thanksgiving? If he says he hates the feast days that he appointed to us, what do you think he thought about the feast days of the heathen? Deuteronomy in the Torah says that in Deuteronomy 28:14 says, listen not and learn not the ways of the nations around you. He said what? They are sorcerers and divinators. They're witches and warlocks. But many of our people, 2 days from now, they're going to be right over there, with their turkeys and their little pumpkin pies and sweet potato pies and their little, squash and their little, cornbread dressings or what kind of bread dressing, the alcoholic beer claiming you love Yahuah. Men laying up on the sofa, passing gas all day long. Silly ass women in the kitchen giggling with their glass of wine. Talking about you love Yahuah. No, you don't. You love yourself. You love them heathens. You love their ways. You already said my way is not your way. My thought not your thought. I want justice. I want righteousness. I want equity for my people. You want fun and celebrations. You want a parade. You want a charade. You'll say, I'm going to give you something, but it ain't going to be what you want. I know you're looking for confetti. He said, but what's going to fall from that sky is fire. From the ground too, I might add. You ask those people about what happened in Hawaii a few years ago. They tell you that not only was the fire coming from the sky, they said fire was coming from the ground. The ocean was on fire. Y'all remember the fires in Hawaii a few years back? Some of y'all took the jab so you can't remember what happened yesterday, but those of us who didn't, we remember what happened. And some of you took it, yeah, so you remember too. They still haven't explained that. And they're not going to explain it. Something way much more diabolical than you would ever want to, you will ever know. We know, but the rest won't know. Daniel said the wise would understand, but the wicked, said they ain't wicked, ain't going to understand nothing. We're going to get that cake. They're going to get them pies. They're going to get that turkey. They're going to get that ham. You can believe that. They don't care nothing about Yahuah. They're going to do exactly the opposite of what he says for them to do, with no type of guilt attached to themselves. And even if you do have guilt for doing it, you're still going to hell. Verse 13, and his servants came near and spoke to him and said, my father, if the prophet had bid you to do some great thing, would you have not done it? How much rather then when he says to you, go wash and be clean? Verse 14, then he went down and he dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of Elohim, who many of you don't want to listen to. And his flesh came again like as the flesh of a little child, and he was healed. Sirach 38 again says the exact same thing, indirectly, but the same thing. Verse 15, and he returned to the man of Yahuah, talking about Nahum, he and all of the company, and he came and he stood before him and he said, behold, now I know that there is no Yahuah, or no Almighty, no Elohim in all the earth, but the one that Yashar'el serves. Or at least the one that's in Yashar'el, because Yashar'el ain't serving him either, not most. He said, but the one we have is the only one, brothers and sisters. Not Buddha, not Krista, not Kali, not Jesus, not Yahuah, not Yahushua, not Kali, not Muhammad, not Zeus, not Jesus, not Mary, not Gyro, not Thor, not Apollo, not Diana, not that heathen ain't he who says telling you that she is the, the goddess, not wisdom. Like some of you weak ass men, got to be a woman. You just got to talk like a fool. Who is a he's a male. He's a masculine male energy. When he created man in his likeness, it looked like Adam, not like Eve. And those who were with him said the same thing, our likeness. So what the hell a female was. Adam walked this earth for quite a while before there was some female there. I'm not taking away from the daughter of Zion, I'm just telling you. Bullshit. Ain't no damn female goddess. You're a lying witch. Claiming to be one. Let's go on here. But in Yashar'el, now therefore I pray you, take a blessing for your servant. Now see, he didn't look at the man and say, I ain't giving you nothing. No, he said, no, you helped. Workman is worthy of his meat. Verse 16, he said, but as Yahuah live, before whom I stand, I will receive none. And he urged him to take it, but he refused. See, because his heart, Elijah's heart was not set upon greed. He had what he needed at the time. And plus he wanted this man to say, no, this is the strength of Yahuah. Yahuah is with me. It ain't about what you giving me. It's about his power, his anointing. But Naaman, as I said earlier, he was a man who did fear Yahuah, even though he was with the heathens. And he understood. I'm not going empty-handed. Hell no. And that's a lesson for many of you brothers and sisters out there that you probably need to learn. The heathens outperforming you. Verse 17, and Naaman said, shall not then, I pray you, be given to your servant 2 mules for the burden of the earth? He said, well, let me give it to Gehazi. For your servant will be henceforth offered neither burnt offerings nor sacrifice unto the other Elohim, but to Yahuah. He's saying, because I'm convinced now that Yahuah is sovereign, there is no other. Say, period. Verse 18, he says, and then Yahuah pardon the servant that he may, you say, may Yahuah pardon your servant that I may what? Go and worship there. And he leans on my hand, and I bow myself to the house of Rimmon. When I bow down myself to the house of Rimmon, Yahuah pardon your servant in this thing. So what he's saying is that when I do go back among these idolaters, I'm no longer going to be an idolater. I'm no longer going to be an abominable one. I'm no longer going to pray to no Jesus or any of the other gods. I'm only going to serve Yahuah, and Yahuah exclusively is what he's saying. But I want to pull back a couple of verses. Let's go back to the muddy water. Because when he said about this clean water, let's go back up here to verse 11. But Naaman was angry and went away and said, behold, I thought he would surely come to me. So let's go back to verse 10. And Elijah sent a message to him saying, go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and your flesh shall come again to you, and you shall be clean. But Naaman was angry, and he went away and said, behold, I thought he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of Yahuah, and strike his hand over this place and recover this leper. So this is all of these Israelites who went around here. Elohim told me this, and they're looking for all this drama. They're doing all this singing, all this dancing, all this fasting, all this praying, all these confessions and professions that they make, but they don't keep. It's all a big shit show. Trying to project upon Yahuah your selfishness, so you can convert him to your way. And this is what Naaman is saying. He's looking for all of the other stuff instead of the truth. And there's so many of our people looking for everything else but the truth. Because see, the truth going to cost you something. And that's why our people would rather go serve the heathen gods who say there is no accountability. Just believe. He goes on to say this. He said, now what? He said, and are not Abna and Papa, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Yashar'el, that I may not wash in them and be clean? So he turned away and he was angry, because he was saying that the Jordan was not clean, not as pure. He was talking about the muddy water. And this is what's going on with many of our brothers and sisters. You're afraid to get dirty for Yahuah. You're afraid to get down on your knees before Yahuah and be submissive and be obedient unto him. I'm not talking about getting on your knees and pray. I'm talking about being submissive, being honorable, being obedient. You don't want to deal with that. And so you conjecture, you use conjecture. You're just saying, well, because of this or because of that, or I can't do this, I don't have that. That's what you do. When in all actuality, no, it's just a convenient lie that you tell yourself because you don't want to get on your knees. You don't want to get dirty for him. You want to be liked. You're too concerned about people liking you or respecting you or honoring you, glorifying you, telling you how beautiful you are, how sweet you are. How bad you are. How masculine you are. How full of shit you are. That's what I would say. But when it comes down to getting away from all of the glitter and all the lights, what are you going to do? When no one else is around to see you, what do you do then? Because that's who you are. The definition of integrity is what you do when nobody else is around. There's a lot of you out there who will come before us as a group and say, elder this, and sister that, and brother this. But as soon as you get off, wherever you back there, you right back doing the same wickedness. You don't keep your word, you lie, and you lie conveniently. And you think that when you come back and tell somebody you lied, that somehow or another, that's supposed to be the end of the story. You come before Yahuah's people as though you are going to keep these commandments, and you don't keep them. You're like Saul. You're a witch. You're a warlock. You do what you want to do. Because you don't want to get dirty. You don't want to be isolated. You don't want to go through the separation. You don't want to go through the contrition. You don't want to go through submission. You don't want a man to tell you what to do at the end of the day. You think that it's just you and your God. Because it's not you and Yahuah. I'm going to show you that. He doesn't change for man. Yahuah he's given us a structure for which he is going to direct and move us into. And he doesn't care about your opinion. He don't care about how you don't like it. He don't care about how you prefer it. He don't care about what you think you should have from him, your right to it. He don't care about what you think is right and what you think is wrong. And you can wrestle with that all the day long. All you're going to do is be wrestling with that devil that's in you and those devils who are around you celebrating you. Good job, wickedness. Another one bites the dust. But I decided I would write a couple of things down. That's why I wanted to go back to the muddy water, brothers and sisters, because, we'll get where we're going. But I just wanted to write this down. Yeah, this is long, and it's going to be long, and if you're too busy for Yahuah, then I guess he's going to be too busy for you. So you figure that part out. But it says here, I wrote down here, what are the things, that causes people to fear the muddy water? Or what is muddy water to many? I'm going to tell you what muddy waters are. Afraid of the devils, what they think. Muddy water. Afraid of liars, tolerating them, muddy waters. Afraid of the thieves, those who look for something for nothing. They want all the blessings of Yahuah, but like Brother Land say, but they don't want to do the work of supporting those who do the work. He say, you're a thief, and he's right. Who else better the water, the muddy water? The lonely ones, these men who don't have no woman, so you're doing all this foolishness and folly because you want a woman, because you're afraid to be by yourself. I ain't talking about your daughter Zion, you're supposed to have a covering. But you men, you ain't sending nobody to you until you're ready. So if Xbox is where you spend your time at, then I hope a woman gonna pop her ass out of Xbox and, let you pop. Get it? You ain't sending you no righteous daughter Zion, you still playing. Daughters of Zion need a covering. They need a man, not a man-child. Daughters of Zion, you need a man. So you loneliness, that's on you. You got no business being lonely. You holding out, and that's holding back, and that's why you're going to stay lonely. I said to you before, this book said you need a covering, especially for what's coming. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. And he said, if you don't do it voluntarily, he's going to force you into it. If you survive the rapists and everything else that's going to come your way, the cannibals who are going to try to eat you alive and whatever else they're going to do to you. Other people are afraid, money. They let money intimidate them. They let giving intimidate them. They're afraid to give. They let marriage intimidate them. I'd rather be by myself than you're an idiot. They're afraid of biblical marriage. They're afraid of trusting. Or they're afraid of trust. They're afraid of the government. Whatever the government say, they're doing it. They're afraid of taxation, even though it's robbery. They're afraid of death, even though everyone's going to face it, except for me and Brother Keith, and a couple of others. They're afraid of love. You can't love them because they love less. They're afraid of hate because they're cowards. They want to be loved by everybody. They're compromised, easily compromised. They're weak, impotent, small, tiny, tender, delicate men and women, afraid to hate, even though the book says there's a time for it. They hate what is good and love which is that which is evil, perversion. Called bitter, sweet, sweet, bitter. Light, darkness, darkness, like good, evil, evil, good. What is that Isaiah tells us in Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20? They're afraid of their family's abandonment. Muddy water. Scared of that muddy water. I leave my family alone. I don't have no more family. Your family don't care about you like that. Your family care about you, but they can get from you. You ain't figured it out yet? Then you won't. They're afraid of other people's opinion about them. They're afraid to get sick, illness, when Yahuah said, I can heal you if you are obedient. They're afraid of homelessness. So I got to pay this and I got to pay that. When Yahuah said no. Except Elohim built a house, they labor what? In vain. See, if you would invest in Yahuah, Yahuah will make sure you have the things that you need, is what it's saying. What did Haggai say? He said, you're so busy worrying about your house that you forgot about my house. He said, but if you had focused on my house first, I'd make sure your house was taken care of. But Israel don't want to hear that. They're afraid of the police. They're afraid of coming together as a righteous community. They're afraid of these churches telling them you're going to hell if you come out of the church. They're afraid of religion. Again, I was born this, and everybody got to believe something, not the shit they believe we do. They're afraid of strong language. They're afraid of their natural selves. So you got to put on eyelashes, and you got to put on, wigs and weaves and alter your whole self, your whole body. Same thing with the men. Their version of it. Alteration. Whatever that is. Got to go to the gym and taking steroids. Because they got to look all big and masculine. Got to get a gun. Because they can't reason with their own brethren. So they just got to kill them. Can't take feedback, can't take criticism because they're tender and delicate, so they got to kill them. Afraid to just be a natural man, a natural woman, and let that glow of Elohim shine off for them. They feel words. You cussing, you using strong language. They're afraid of work. You don't want no job. They want resources, but they don't want to work. I already shared with you the proverb said that where there's no oxen, the crib is empty. You will say, if you don't want to work, you deserve to have nothing. Ecclesiastes said it early. Morning plant your corn, the evening let not your hand be idle. You're lazy, you're slothful. What Sirach talks about, Sirach 22, identifying you or them. They're afraid of forgiveness. That makes sense. And they're afraid of contrition. And you can put those in other words. It's contrition and you'll get forgiveness. But because you're afraid or you won't do contrition, you're afraid to be forgiven. Because if you did contrition, Yah will restore you. And all these complaining, all this mourning and suffering, and all this regret, and all of this whining and crying, and all of this misery would be resolved. Because Yahuah said, no, you did your contrition, you have been forgiven, I'll restore you. What does 2 Chronicles 7:14 say? My people who are called by my name, if they will humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, I would hear their sins, right? I'll forgive their sins, because they're doing the contrition, and I will what? Heal their land. He said, I will restore them. He said, I'll bring back everything to you. You wouldn't have to worry about loss. Your life will be full of gains and blessings. But you don't want to do it, brothers and sisters. These people sit there with their mouths, they say one thing, but their behavior is something totally different. And when we try to tell them that, look, you don't have the things you want because you're in rebellion, they'll tell us, oh, no, you're in hate. Okay, then. But I can assure you one thing. You'll never see Yah's might and power if you can't be corrected. If you're unwilling to learn. If you don't throw away these idolatrous books like the New Testament. Get rid of these idols and these idolous gods and their family and your household. Those devils too. Entertaining their foolishness and conversations with them about nothing. You heard about this and you heard about that? Guess what about this? And guess what about that? How do you have time for that folly and wickedness? These people are going nowhere fast but to hell. They're going to die suddenly, as the scripture says. But you're over there all engaging them, brothers and sisters. See, this is the heart of a man. So Yahuah said, I look at man. What did Yahuah tell Samuel when Samuel was going to anoint David king? He said, don't look at his outer appearance. He said, man looks at the outer appearance. Yahuah said, no, I'm looking at the heart. I'm looking at how they live, little Noah, little DFG. That's how we walk, little brother. We look at how they act, how they behave. Where is their love for Yahuah? Is it coming out of their pores? Is it sweating off of their brow? When they're taking care of their body, do they understand that Yahuah wants them to do that? When they're putting, when they're putting healthy things in it, do they really care about what they put in their bodies? And even greater than that is how are they learning? Do they come to hear the word when the word is being shared? Do they attract it to the word? When they hear the voice of DFG, do they stop what they're doing and focus? On Wednesday night, what is their priority? Studying and learning the word of Yahuah, or just continue on learning what they're not learning, which means doing the same old thing, expecting a different result. And then complaining about why their life is in a mess. Or lying and saying their life is blessed. You got a bunch of Israelites who are lying, talking about Yahuah is blessing them. He's not blessing you. He's not blessing them. He said, I will never bless that which is cursed. They're over there worshiping devils. And Satan is providing what they want because they're compromised. They're between two opinions. And Satan's going to pull you farther, but he'll give you whatever you want to keep your ass over there. These devils are everywhere because they look for the wicked. What did the master say unto Yahuah? He said, no, why are you blaming us for the whole cause? He said, yeah, we're guilty. He said, but man is wicked. He said, Israel is evil. He said, don't you know Israel want to play with us? Say, Israel want to be invited to the next party. Israel wants to be invited to the next ceremony. Israel wants to be invited to the next reunion. Israel wants to be invited to the next feast day. Israel wants it. He said, why are you just dealing with us? And you will say, well, all right. And he said, well, go check Noah. Let's tell me if Noah, not Noah. He said, go see Abraham. Tell me what Abraham does. You can read about that again in chapter 22. But you can also read about the book of Jubilees, chapter 10. It says the exact same thing, more or less. There's a lot of people in Yashar'el, they're doing what they want to do, brothers and sisters. They don't love Yahuah. They don't love Yahuah no more than they love you. But they need something from you, so they're going to pretend like they do. They want something from you, so they're going to pretend like they love him. But true love, it means come with true sacrifice. It means giving it all up if he says to give it up. All of it. When you really love Yahuah, your heart is open to him, sister. You there. He's there. It's a relationship. Same thing, brother. A true man of strength, like David said, he goes to Yahuah to learn to fight. He goes to Yahuah to learn to war. I say this to the daughters of Zion. Some of y'all with these weak men. These men don't stand for nothing. You know they don't. They want to eat, pee, poop, and screw. That's about it. And go play. Have fun. My dear sisters, that's not the response. A man don't think like that. A real man, he's going to grind. He's going to do whatever it takes to do what is right for those who are right. If that means work from morning to night, he's going to do it. If that means working 6 days a week, he's going to do it. Some of us 7 days a week. I'm talking about the work of Yahuah on the 7th day. I'm not talking about working, doing something else. He's going to get up and he's going to have priority. He's going to get up with a purpose. If you need him, he will be there. He will help you if you're doing what is right. These men, Yah is destroying most of these men, daughters of Zion. That's why I said you guys are going to have to rethink marriage, whether you like it or not. But Yahuah dwells with the righteous. Whatever is righteous, there's always going to be some wickedness. There's always going to be a scoffer. There's always going to be someone evil. Watch this. I'm just giving you those things. I hope you take some time and review them and write them down. The list of muddy water, things that you're afraid of, things that are allowing you to be clean, things that keep you from being blessed. Naaman was better than you. The stranger is better than you. Because the stranger reflected upon, he reconsidered his ways, and then Yahuah blessed him because he was willing to do what it is he did not want to do. He was willing to listen to the prophet instead of fighting him. Because he didn't agree with him. No. Unlike Aaron, he had a servant that told him, no, master, listen to him. He told you to do some big old fancy thing. If he had a big old church, you'd be giving. Because he's small teaching, what you think we shouldn't, why? So he had wise counsel with him. That's why I say the book tells us how can two walk together except they agree. Many of you are walking with your adversary and you don't even know it. Some of you are living with your adversary and you do know it. But you do nothing about the situation that you're in. And that's why it's not going to change. It's going to get worse. There's always going to be somebody wicked trying to divert, trying to throw off the truth, trying to get in the way of your redemption, sister, brother. There's always going to be some devil there. Trying to, as I was saying, upset the apple cart. Rebuke them. Don't be afraid of the muddy water. Some of your restoration lies right there. Embrace it. Verse 20, but Gehazi, the servant of Elijah, the man of Yahuah, said, behold, my master has spared Naaman, this Amorite, in not receiving at his hands that which he brought. So this is what a dumb, greedy dog is focused on. The righteous man is focused on the work, and Yah will bless him. But the wicked, they focused on stuff. That's why the wicked won't give, because they're focused on stuff. But as Yahuah lives, I will run after him and take somewhat from him. So Gehazi followed after Naaman, and when Naaman saw him running after him, he lifted down from the chariot to meet him and said, is all well? But you got to be careful. These people come and tell you, I'm just telling you this for your own good. I'm just trying to keep you from getting hurt. I'm just trying to keep you from getting your heart broken. So you got to be careful who you're listening to, brothers and sisters. They're always going to come at you playing towards your toward your vulnerabilities. And many of you love it anyway. Mom was hurt. No, mom was a goddamn witch. And she got what her ass deserved. She knows it. Let's go on here. So Gehazi followed after Naaman, and when Naaman saw him running after, verse 22 drop, and he said, is all well? My master has sent me, saying, behold, even now they have come to me from Mount Ephraim, 2 young men of the sons of the prophets. See, again, these prophets are to be looked after and helped. And I pray you a talent of silver and 2 chains of garments. Why? Because Gehazi is lying, of course. He said, but they are prophets. He said, we got to give them something because they have come. But he's lying now. But this is a lie. But think about why the lie was convincing to Naaman. Because Naaman understood it. And no, you don't go looking for something for nothing. And Naaman said, be content, take 2. See how unselfish Naaman is? He asked for 1. Naaman said, no, you take 2. 1 is not enough. You need 2. Take 2. And he urged them. He said, and he brought 2 talents of silver and 2 bags and 2 chains of garment, and laid them on 2 of the servants, and he bore them before him. And when he had came to the tower, this is Gehazi, he took them from his hand, and he bestowed them in the house, hiding it, just like Achan, thinking he's getting away with something. Hoarding. It's all you hoarders out there. You're hoarding everything. I'm getting prepared for the time of trouble, elder. You can't prepare for the time of trouble and at the same time disobey this Torah. I'll say this again to the daughters of Zion. A lot of you taking all these little shortcuts. You're wearing clothes you got no business wearing. And then you're trying to change the doctrine. Well, back in the time, everybody was dressed the same. Well, your grandma, your great-grandma, everybody for 300 years, 400 years that down to present understood that women and men dressed differently, but somehow or another in your wisdom, you want to say it ain't so. Yet this book told us not to be confusing people. Very much you don't lay down with animals, it's confusing. Tell you a man and women has to have a distinctness about themselves so you don't create confusion for others. But you don't care because you want to do what you want to do. And then when y'all judges you harshly, you over there talking about elder. Just like Noah said, Don't call me now. I tried to warn you. You didn't want to listen then, so don't call my name. And when he came to the tower and he took them from the hand, he bestowed them in his house, trying to hide it from his master, trying to hide it from the prophet. Shall it be a secret? And Yahuah not reveal it to his servant the prophet? Isn't that Amos 3 and 7? That's why I said about the brother that's over there following this channel with this guy over there talking about reincarnation. You can't hide. Not from me. Because Yahuah don't want you to hide. He's trying to warn you. We'll see what you do. But you compromise what I'm telling you. The only person that you're compromising is yourself. You think you're getting away with it. Think you can do whatever you want to do, and somehow Yahuah is just going to excuse you because of your affiliations. You're going to deal with you accordingly to your own behavior. And there will be no remedy for you when he strikes your ass down. Verse 25, but he went in and he stood before his master, and Elijah said unto him, where are you coming from, Gehazi? He said, well, your servant ain't went nowhere, now they lying. What the book said, thief. First he was a thief, and now he's a liar. Sirach 20 and 25. You're stealing from the man of Yahuah, because that was rightly for Elijah. But if he said no, then it goes back to what he said. It goes not where you want it to go. What he does with it is what he does with it. It got nothing to do with the next person. If he gives it back, it's his to give back. If he keeps it, it's his to keep. What you have to do with it. But now he's lying. So again, let's go over Sirach 20 and 25. Hallelujah. What he says here. He said, a thief, that was him stealing the resources, is better than a man that is accustomed to lie. Then he went back and lied, but they both shall have destruction as their heritage. Your word doesn't change for you. Didn't change for Gehazi. It ain't going to change for you. You're a thief and you're a liar. Because you're worried about yourself. Those of you who do that. Thought you were getting away with something. Actually, where you been? I ain't went nowhere. I ain't do nothing. And we talking about that. I ain't do nothing. You're not doing anything. You're right. You never do anything other than what you want to do. And when you get called out for it, you cry wolf. I ain't do nothing. Or then when somebody looking and saying, well, where's your work? You ain't doing nothing there either. So it's kind of a double, I forgot what the sister told me they called that, a double something. In other words, it means the same thing both ways. No matter how you look at it, it still applies. Conundrum, a double conundrum. Verse 26, and he said to him, went not my heart, this is now the prophet talking to him, went not my heart with you when the man turned again from his chariot to meet you? He said, you don't think I saw you? You don't think I know what you up to? So you don't think I see what you're doing? See, it's a time to receive money, and it's a time to receive garments, and olive yards, and vineyards, and sheep, and oxen, and maid servants, and men servants. He said, but that's like Solomon said in clear. He says a time for these, but he said, Gehazi, now is not that time. The time for you to have been doing Gehazi, what I assigned you to do, and that is take care of the things that I told you to be taking care of instead of being in my business. And this is why so many of our brothers say you get your asses in trouble because you always trying to project into something that does not concern or pertain to you. And you're wondering why. But see, there's a consequence for wickedness. Because look what happens next. He said, now the leprosy, therefore, that was on Naaman shall cleave unto you and your seed forever. And he went out from his presence, leper, as white as snow. So you don't think the prophet has the power to bless or curse if Yahuah puts it up in his hands to do so? You better believe he can. And he said not only he's going to be a leper, for the entire generation, they're all going to be lepers. Some of these people think that's what these albinos are associated with that. But then again, Yahuah knows for sure. Some of the Edomites, especially the Irish, some tear their skin to pieces. Sores all over the place, cancer. The sun eats them, causes us to shine. It eats them. I don't want to get into all that. Hallelujah. Brothers and sisters, been teaching now for what? Almost 3 hours? But all this teaching don't mean a thing if you're not going to do something with the knowledge. The book says Yahuwah's people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. You should be asking, what is the knowledge that Yahuwah wants me to know so I'm not destroyed? Of course, it's what's going to be written in this book. And of course, it's going to be taught by who he assigned to teach it. Not who assigned themselves. Not some opinionated fools out there who just got something to say. They just can't get paganism out of their hearts and their minds. But let them talk. A day will come that they're going to get judged for every idle word that they brought out that trash bin of a mouth they have. I'm talking about the garbage they speak. Well, let's start this message off, brothers and sisters. It's time now to ask yourself, are you ready to fight? Are you going to fight? And if you're going to fight, then what is that fight looking like? Because you're supposed to fight anything that's an adversary to this truth. Anything that's an adversary to Yahuwah. That's why David said, your enemies are my enemies. David said in Psalm 139, he said, what? I hate those that hate you. He said, David said, I hate them with a perfect hatred. Sister Teresa was saying when she read that a light bulb went off. She was like, man, I had a moment of clarity, Elder. She said, I began to understand, wow, I can't be walking with, family and friends who hate Yahuwah, who don't keep these commandments, who don't want to hear these words, even when I try to share with them, make up excuses. Well, if he didn't talk so strong, if he wasn't such a man, any excuse would do when you don't want to do what is right, brothers and sisters. So, hey, different without distinction, right? Liars and thieves going to hell together. But the righteous, again, God has something set aside for us, Sister Allison. Beautiful, unimaginable. The eye is not seen, ears not heard, neither has it entered the heart of those who love him. And he means it. It's not conflation. It's not an exaggeration, Brother Lance. It isn't. It's absolute. Sister A.O., it's absolute. Sister Jackson, Sister Maria, it's absolute. But you got to love him. And you got to be, this has to mean everything to you, brothers and sisters. It's got to mean everything. And if you over there holding on to things because you worried about what's coming, then you missing the whole essence of redemption is all about and trust is all about. Trust is when you're free to obey. Without any self-inflicted restraints. Then you will know Yahuah. Then you will know his love. Then you will know his grace. Then you will know his mercy. Then you will see his blessings. Then these books will become alive to you. The Torah, Tanakh, testimonial books. Then this prophet won't seem so, indifferent. Or you won't see him as indifference. You'll see that Yahuah has a prophet still to this very day among Yashar'el. And you won't be afraid of it. You will embrace it. And you'll be glad. Because you know that means he has not forsaken. And his word is true. So I say that to each and every one of you. Don't underestimate the effort and the work that goes in this. Like I said, this is 3 hours long. I don't know when it's going to post. But I'm guarantee you one thing, I'm not going to stop until it does. That's commitment. And I hope you are willing to reciprocate the same level of commitment right back here to me. Y'all's watching. We'll see. Shalom, Yashar'el. Elder DFG.